Coach here with Faction Focus. I'm losing the plot. It is a new channel, a new stream. Hangouts is dead, and I have a new layout, a new program, and I'm super excited. I'm going to show you who my guests are. Wow, this is new. Haven't done this before. Hopefully this doesn't freak out. This is kind of like that old 70s game where you had like all the different people in squares, and I'll pick Warhammer Sylvaneth for 300 points.
Wait, what?
You're too young to even know that. It was a game.
Is that when you had to tie an onion to your belt before you left the house? Because that was the style at the time as well, Coach?
You'd walk 15 miles to get to school and through the snow. So, wow, this has gone really off track. This is Down Under Sigmar, and we are going to be talking today about building, retaining, growing your games clubs. Before we get into that, let's talk to Liam. Liam, how are you, good sir?
I am sweet like candy. I've picked up a paintbrush for the first time since April.
I did see your post on Twitter. You haven't been...
I have not had time to hobby, and then I have not had time to build armies or whatever. I think I did Feck, and I smashed out Feck so quickly that because it's such an easy army to collect, and then turn up to events with them, and then since there hasn't really been much events happening for the past like 2 months or so in Sydney, so I feel like there hasn't been like a deadline to get a new army done, or no one really wants me to play Feck anymore, which I don't blame them because it is.
Nobody wants anyone ever to play Feck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no one wants anyone to play Feck anymore.
You can't talk, Jemma.
I don't know how to play it. I've been playing Legion of Grief, so I'm free from that.
Yeah, so at the moment, like Feck is literally like collecting actual dust. So yeah, so pretty much picked up a paintbrush because some annoying TO has been bugging me to paint terrain. So I'm just getting that stuff done for this TO. That's really like is a pain in my ass, you know.
How dare a tournament organizer ask for community help? How dare they ask some people, especially their co-host, to print and paint and help out? I'm going to mute you now, and I'm going to go to my guests because you're being rude. Let's talk to Jemma before she has to run off and save the world again in Toowoomba.
Oh, wow. I am on call, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I put my phone on silent. It's going way over there somewhere.
So that reference was we had a couple of episodes ago. We had you, Clint, and your husband, Michael. Not even husband, your partner. You will be married soon. One day. And Jem was like halfway through the stream and had to run off.
Unfortunately. To be honest, I didn't even know because my phone was on silent until I was like, oh, just check that. Then there was about 400 alarms. I was like, whoa.
She grabbed her cape and she ran off. So for the purpose of people who have no idea who you are, which is probably like 2 people in Australia, who are you, Jemma?
Well, I'm just a local person from Toowoomba. I play Age of Sigmar. I do dabble in a little bit of 40k, but nothing recently. I'm part of the Foul Charge group up here. We do a podcast, and we've recently started doing some battle reps as well. So that's pretty exciting stuff.
Toowoomba is the content creator capital of Australia. It's also where the Heralds. So
I thought you were calling something completely different.
Pretty sure last stream I talked about the Herald's Dwellers or Dwellers Herald or Heralds of I don't know what I was losing the plot.
You're like writing a rap song.
I am losing it. Speaking of someone who's also lost it, a debut for the channel, we have 2D3's Lord and Savior himself, Ryan. Welcome back to YouTube, Ryan.
Thanks, buddy. It's been ages.
So who are you?
Ryan, that is all. I am from Brisbane. Originally, I came onto the scene as part of Ozhammer, and that's dead now. And we ended up starting a club called 2D3, and we're an AOS-centric club in Brisbane's north side. I've been doing that for a few years now with just a whole bunch of mates, really. And aside from that, I'm pretty quiet with the whole content these days. Thank goodness, because it makes your beard go grey.
It does, but we do miss your Whose Bum Is That model, which was an amazing show that you guys did where you showed off the backsides of particular Warhammer models and got Jemma actually on Ladies' Night to choose whose bum the model was. So
I think she held a record or something as well. She beat Dan Abnett and Gav Thorpe, I think, as well, which was pretty impressive. So.
I'm pretty
Gemma,
sure I did well.
I like looking at bums. Like
Jemma is the model bum queen. She knows her bum. She knows a Bloodthirster's bum from a I don't know, a Stormcast bum. I'm pretty sure there was a Stormcast bum.
Yeah, there was so many bums. So many bums.
Cool.
I honestly just loved it how you spent the time before every show and you would just use a 360 view and you would just take a screenshot of their bum. Like that was like what you did. And I was like, what?
Yep. Yeah. Look, times were tough, man. And we ran that whole show on $0. So screenshots, Paint Shop Pro, like anything I could get my hands on just to get bums on screens, man.
I just remember playing it and I was literally thinking to myself, what am I doing? Like, and there was times where I was getting it right. I'm like, I should stop looking at models, like every single detail.
Liam needs to stop looking at Warhammer bums.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you spent like a good hour or two before a show once, Liam, just looking at bums, didn't you? Just to prepare. Yeah.
Always.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I asked you to actually research some bums for our guests, but you've clearly failed on that one.
I thought that was a joke.
I was
looking forward to some.
Thank Nagash for that.
All right, maybe we'll do like a Twitter thing instead. I think we're talking about bums for too long. My target 100% male demographic audience between 24 to 44 probably don't appreciate the bum talks.
Sure they do.
So what's happening in the world of Warhammer, Liam? Have we had any news or any things happen lately?
In like pretty much with news from GW, I think at the moment they're just showing off Space Marines at the moment and some Sisters of Battle, but we got an FAQ out for Sylvaneth, the long-awaited, for 3.5 months.
Well, technically, yes. Yeah.
It's 3.5 month FAQ. And
we're doing a show. We're doing a show on Sunday. You, me, Welfare, Dan OS Shorts, and Laurie Hunt Wild.
Quite a lot of people in one show. And yeah, so pretty much that FAQ is not really an FAQ. It was just like, if you want to use the old Wildwoods, this is what you can use. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. That's all it is. It's just like clarifying what Wildwoods you can use. And yeah, so pretty much that was pretty much news. Warcry, that's Age of Sigmar. That came out this weekend, I'm pretty sure. And that's exciting stuff. And yeah, I'm thinking, what else is it? I think that's actually it for news.
No, I'm pretty sure Games Workshop destroyed the hearts, minds, and souls of all people from the old world like me.
Yes,
that's not news. That's just for God's sake, Haven. Like, it's great. More room for new models.
So if people don't know what we're referring to, a whole bunch of Warhammer Age of Sigmar models went on last chance to buy. Things like, I think, Glade Guard. There was some Devoted of Sigmar characters. There were a whole range of kits that are no longer available in preparation for the Cities of Sigmar, which I think was a good band-aid to finally rip off. But it makes me a little bit sad that Bretonia and the what's it called? The Tomb Kings are still around.
Nah, it's fine. Or else Dan Brewer will be upset.
But my Empire Archers are gone. The Free Guild, they're actually Free Guild.
But yeah, like in my opinion, some of those models were quite out of date. Like quite out of date.
Yeah, the Archers were all right.
I'm really upset about Wanderers though. Wanderers, that was like an army that like in my mind, I'm like, I could do that. Like I remember I messaged you like a month and a half ago being like, should I do a Wanderers army? And you're like, no, Liam, finish this army. I'm like, oh, okay.
From what I've heard, the rumors, and these are just rumors, that you'll still be able to play with your old model, so your Free Guild Archers under the Free Guild Allegiance, but they're not being poured over to Cities of Sigmar. That's from what I'm hearing, but that's not fact. So let's wait to see what changes. Jemma, I know Michael, your not better half, your life partner, your the king amongst men. hero to us all. He's a Free Guild Empire player. Is he upset or is he okay?
No, he's fairly upset. He sent me. He must have saw the list before I did, and I was at work, and he sent it to me, and I wrote back, "I hope this isn't true." And he was just like, "Me too." And there was like sad faces and emojis of sadness everywhere. And I'm pretty sure he has been depressed ever since. Actually, he hasn't been his normal self. So.
I'll reach out.
Games Workshop should have to answer for this kind of forced depression.
Yes,
it's terrible.
I know. Yeah. So.
I tell you what gets you out of depression: more models.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what would make him feel better? Buying those models to prove that they are worth staying on the shelves.
Well, they're all sold out.
Wait, what?
Across the globe, basically 99% of all of those last chance to buy are actually sold out. They're gone. On the Saturday, most of them actually sold out completely. So if GW are looking for a way to spike their sales, well done.
Yeah.
I think I know where most of them are as well. Probably in the mail on the way to Tom from Warhammer Weekly's house.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. You watch eBay sales spike.
Yeah.
Oh, they already have. Like Dragon Princes have gone up through the roof. Almost like Blood Knight cost.
Well, they are the Blood Knight replacement.
And then Slides and Deke. But yeah, so trying to think what else is there. I think besides that for news, there's been some good rumor engines. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's been some really good ones where it's very close to looking at Death. That new Death thing that's looming. Which I am curious to see what it will be and like who the new character is. And I think the army is very much looking not Tomb Kings, but very much a modernized version of it, which has been cool. And I'm pretty
Jemma,
sure
any thoughts on what the Death thing could be?
Yeah, like I do agree with Liam there. I was excited that they were probably going to do some sort of special thing with the Tomb Kings. I'm not going to lie, I call it naivety, but I was like, yay! Because I know you can't see my shelves over there, but there's a whole army of them sitting there. And
there's a lot of armies there. I just want to clarify, there's a lot.
I know, I have sort of run out of room. It's pretty bad. But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about it too because I've just started playing Death, so it's just like perfect timing. So
do you think
Death is the way? I love Death.
Do you think it's an old world Mortark coming back? I've heard, rumors of Dieter Helsnitch, maybe Krell coming back, or there's also other rumors that people are saying that it's a new Mortark that hasn't been seen in the world. What do we think?
Oh, look, to be honest, I would be happy with the older one because I think that would be something pretty cool, something different because we've just got Alinda. And now I'd like to see something come back from the old world. A story connected to that too, obviously.
Any particular one? Vlad, Isabella? There's so many. Yeah?
Yeah.
We need more chicks.
Yeah, and I think the story sort of surrounding that's pretty cool as well. So if they can sort of delve into that a little bit more, I think that'd be very cool.
We just need
I'll be honest.
We just need a replacement for Manfred because he's just not cutting it.
Go away. I did actually, I'll be honest, I did think Alinda was going to be Isabella von Carstein. I thought this wailing, Vlad had died and she was back and she was, spooky as ever. And I thought that would be nice, but Alinda got brought in.
Yeah.
Ryan, what are your thoughts? Who do you think is coming in from a Mortark?
So looking at it from a higher view, right, we've had Legions of Nagash, which is a lot of the Death Rattle sort of stuff. So your bones and all that sort of thing. We've had Nighthorn. They've had a release. And then we've also had the Flesh Eater Courts, who can feck off whenever they want. And now all that's left really, I reckon, is a focus more on like vampire counts and stuff like that. It would be interesting to see a whole faction dedicated to that sort of death because they're not ghostly, they're not Flesh Eater Courts sort of, barbaric, and obviously they're not the skeleton sort of Legions of Nagash. They're their own special kind of niche part of death, and I think there's a lot of space there to fill out vampires.
Yeah, I know heaps of people who are very excited about potentially new Blood Knights, and they're not resin ones. So,
present.
Liam's shaking his head. What? No. What do you think? What's the elevator pitch?
I honestly think seeing the the artwork and stuff that they're showing in the videos, it doesn't look vampiric. Like when you read about Neferata and stuff and like where she is and stuff, it doesn't show that kind of thing. So I don't really think it's very vampire-y. I would love vampires. Don't get me wrong. Like Anthony knows that I'm going to do a vampire army pretty much starting it as of next week. So I reckon it's going to be. I don't know any of the old world characters except for the ones that are still alive, like the ones that are important, like Neferata. But I reckon it might be an old world character. I've seen some artwork where it looks quite similar to some of the new work, and I have to say it's going to be, seeing the artwork, it does have a pyramid aesthetic to it. Like as a guy who's a photographer and a designer, I can see it very much being heavily Egyptian orientated. So I reckon it's not Tomb Kings, but it's going to be in a way Tomb Kings. I think people who like Tomb Kings will then go to this army, if that makes sense. And it'll be very death rattle focused. It's going to be skeleton heavy, no death walkers, so no zombies, no dire wolves, nothing like that. It's going to be, in another way, it's going to be an elite death skeleton army, if that makes sense. You're going to get probably some bigger Ushabti characters, because at the moment Def don't really have that, except for what's the unit of 2 models again that are
the Archive.
The Morghast.
These guys right here.
Yeah, the Morghast.
Yeah, those guys. So I reckon it's going to be something like that, where it's going to be very elite, because I don't really see them doing large at the moment. Currently, with the current releases, I don't see them doing big unit of boxes at the moment for Age of Sigmar. A lot of that's been quite elite. So for example, Deepkin, that was a huge thing. And then Doors of Cain, they didn't really make a new unit of 5 or more models. It was just an elite release. So I reckon that's what GW is going to do, because I don't really think they have had time to do a whole thing of large units.
That was a really long elevator, by the way.
Thank you.
But look at other Order armies that have come out in the past 12, 24 months, where while they're in the Order site, they're quite chaosy. And I mean, there's been talk thrown around in the past about, where did Cetra go, and who's there, and would there be some sort of death army that comes in but is tainted by chaos as a bit of a twist, which I would like to see as well. But I think it's all just pipe dreams.
Yeah, I think we've kind of seen the pointing around going back to the realm of light. I think that's going to open up a whole world of the light elves, whatever that looks like. I think maybe Warcry has a bit of a hint on what Tomb Kings Reimagined. Martin Orlando has made a really good comment. We think it's this successor to the Tomb Kings, and maybe this Warcry warband from the realm of light maybe is a drip of the aesthetic. Wouldn't surprise me if we see things like the Screaming Skull Catapult Reimagined returned for some range shooting.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me to see a bunch of monster type kind of constructs. So maybe
I'd be a buyer straight away.
Yeah, I think I imagine what does a undead Maw-Crusher look like? What does an undead Stardrake look like? What does there's so many monsters in the realm that imagine a powerful necromancer. I would mark over Dieter Hellsnitch like an undead, a very powerful necromancer back in the day, with his manticore and an undead kind of reimagined manticore. But who knows?
Funny you guys mentioned beasts and stuff, because isn't there a new Underworld thing that's based on the realm of beasts with some new models, such as
the new Shade Spy.
Yeah. So what's that new? Because we see Beast of Chaos in it, but we also see, what is it? What would you guys call that new faction? That's half beast, half wanderers. What are they calling it?
Bambies.
Oh, the Kurnothi?
Kanothi, whatever.
Kurnoth, yeah, it's like Kurnoth, but with an I at the end.
But the fact that the lions there, I was just sorry, I thought you were light elves for a second. Since when did they pick up a lion?
I think long story short, we're going to see some cool stuff, and I'm leaning towards what Martin Lando said.
At this point, I don't think GW can make stuff up, to be honest. Their models they've just been releasing lately have just been beautiful. I can't say a bad word about them. I just want to throw money everywhere.
Well,
It's a
you can
big
throw
problem.
money over my way if you like, because I'll need it for a new Death Army soon. So
I gotta somehow fill up these shelves still. So
I'll teach you how to turn those IKEA cabinets from 4 shelves to 8 shelves.
is there a way the 3D printer can like build me a display cabinet?
I probably could.
Yes, probably
Probably
could. I wish we were kidding, but there probably is a high chance it could.
he'd probably get
I'll
Liam to
try.
paint it though.
Nah, I won't be painting that. I got a whole Death Army to paint and also some Sylvaneth. So
Ugh.
Have you guys had an opportunity to play any games recently? Any shouts or any victories? Maybe Ryan, Jemma, our guests first.
yep.
Yeah, actually, I ventured down to the Ipswich GT last weekend, which was awesome. I played like my first sort of round of 2,000 point games with the Legion of Grief. So it was a pretty hard slog, to be honest, because they're quite a finessey army, and if you do make mistakes with them, you get punished pretty quick. So
What was your list?
So my list was 2 units of 10 Bladegeist Revenants, 12 Mind-Worn Banshees, a Necromancer, a Linda, the Black Coach, Guardian of Souls, and had 2 units of 10 Chain Rasps and 40 Zombies. So I was sort of
Solid.
narrative in a way with the Forbidden Power story with the Necromancer and a big blob of
40.
zombies. Yeah, I did have 60 originally, but I had to sort of cull them down.
Just want to double check. So Necromancer and stuff can be in Legion of Grief, yeah?
Mm.
So it's not a mercenary group, because I know that like they're in, like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm just double checking.
No, it's so I think I won 2 and lost 3, but they were minors, and it was very, very close. But yeah,
That's pretty good.
Unfortunately with a couple of my things, I just wasn't on top of where I was situating the models. So I wasn't in some of the ranges that I should have been, or forgetting that Bladegeist Revenants can actually retreat and charge, and when they do charge, they get an extra attack, because those guys are really good. I think they're a lot better than Grimghast Reapers, to be honest.
Well, they are better. It's just like in Legions of Nagash, you can't put them in unless they're allies, and that's when Grimghast are better.
Yeah, in that regard, yeah. I think the Bladegeist just do a lot more for me in how I'm writing lists anyway.
That's cool.
But yeah, it was awesome. I really liked the event. It was held at Brothers Leagues Club in Ipswich. So probably one of the highlights of my weekend was they did rum drafts on tap. Like,
that's pretty solid.
Oh, yeah, rum draft on tap. Like, it was amazing. If you haven't tried one.
What the hell's a rum draft? What?
So I'm guessing it's sort of like a rum beer sort of thing.
Oh,
it's
okay.
amazing. If you haven't had one before, you have to go immediately now and go and get one somewhere.
Okay. See you later, guys. Yeah, okay, cool. Sick. Glad that's the highlight is the bar. It's good.
Awesome. And not long after this, I'll bring up the results of Ipswich GT, which was kind of cool. Before we do that, Ryan, have you had many games recently?
Yes, I think I hit 80 games with my Legions of Nagash in the past week. So I've total overall now since I've started the army.
So not 80 in one day?
No, God, no. I mean, yeah, man, yeah.
I'm like, you might have like deployed and lost and automatically, and then like redeploy, and you just get
it was a major loss every 35 seconds. No, so I recently played against a guy named Ben in our group. He's got the new Sylvaneth book and army, and we wanted to flesh that out. And I was experimenting with Neferata and some
the best Mortark.
Oh yeah, by far at the moment for me, she is. She's carrying. Yeah, no, she's doing it for me. She's doing it for me. But with Vampire Lords on zombie dragons, of all things, and I never thought it would work, but I've taken the same list twice, and I've been really impressed by it. So managed to take a win against some trees, and then we had club on Sunday where I got called out for a match, and we had like a poll and everything on our Facebook page, and I was playing against a dispossessed army, which was tailored against death. But I think the dispossessed player tailored it against Nagash, whereas I took the Neferata list, and hammerers were just dying everywhere. It was really interesting. So, which I haven't played against Dispossessed in ages, so I've really been enjoying some Neferata action, and there is definitely a competitive list that utilizes her and zombie dragons. Believe it or not, there is one there. So that's what I've been toying with.
It's got Prince Vordray in it as well.
Yeah, he's nasty. That guy can hit, man. He is a beast.
There's a cool list you can do where it's like Neferata, Vampire Lord, Zombie Dragon with Theory Amulet, Prince Vordray, 3 units of Doggos, Blood Knights, and you can make nearly everything in the army ethereal, and then also you can make a Zombie Dragon pylon twice.
Yeah, I've been leaning more towards Neferata, 2 Vampire Lords on Zombie Dragons with, and I'm just filling out Battle Line with Wolves and Graveguard, a unit of 10 Graveguard, just for shits and giggles, basically. And I love it. I love Death, though. Death's just this amazing army, so I've really been enjoying it in the current meta, and just trying to find games against armies that you don't really play against much to try and flesh it out and see what can be done.
No, awesome.
Solid.
That's very cool. Liam?
I played a game against Nathan Princhy with his 2.5k Stormcast army. And I could happily say that Daughters of Cain is fucked. So, yeah.
You're only saying that because you're trying to sell your Daughters of Cain right now. So you're trying to like...
if anyone wants daughters, just come to me because I don't want them. It's just such a stupid army. The fact that I'm not even taking Hagnar and I am winning without even like all I have to do is move forward. I was like, there's no talent in this. If I want to play this stuff, I should just stick with Feck. So at the moment, so it's after playing that game though, next day I literally drove and picked up or ordered my Death Army. So so pretty much just I had that one game, and Nathan did a couple of mistakes. We played Better Part of Valor, like my least favorite scenario in last General's Handbook, and now it's probably up there as my favorite because they fixed it finally. And the deployment now is so much easier and makes way more sense for Better Part of Valor. Because it makes your deployment, you have to be super tight with it, which is really good. Because before, when you were going long way, like the longer way, like the shorter way, your deployment was way too spaced out, so you can't have huge blobs of units holding that objective, making sure your opponent can't get it. Now with this new deployment, since like your deployment's now just like shrunk wider, your army's now like more condensed, and you can actually pretty much have a chance, especially against armies like Sylvaneth, which usually won that game in turn 1 or even before turn 1 ended. So yeah, it's really good. And then that's pretty much games played. And now it's just after that one game, I'm excited to doing other armies that actually give me a challenge, which is good. So yeah,
awesome. And I haven't played much Sigmar. I've played a few games of Warcry, so I'm not going to go into too much detail because 1, this is a Sigmar show. 2, I'm assuming that the stars will continue to align, and I will be on Warhammer Weekly tomorrow talking about Warcry. So. I won't use all my ammunition today, but it's been great. It's been really good.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rank it game wise?
Just
a quick like number on top of your head.
Look, I rate it right now certainly in the 8 to 9.
Cool.
It's a really good game. I like the models. It's a nice balance between Necromunda and Mordheim, and kind of Kill Team meets a little bit of Sigmar, meets a little bit of it's a nice little game. It's
I have to say it is the smartest game GW's done, because they're allowing armies to play in Warcry, like those booster packs.
Yep, I bought the Gloomspite one yesterday, and it's great. It's really good.
Like it's the most genius, in my opinion, most genius thing, because you're seeing people on Twitter and stuff buying these packs, and I know for a fact, right, AOS Shorts does not own a Daughters of Cain or Deepkin army, but now he bought the cards. I was like, cool, you've literally now got yourself into
it's easy. Go out and buy like a box of models, and then buy a character, and you now have a warband.
Like
my only gripe is the rules. I am old and cranky. I don't like change, and unfortunately, the 40k-ish rules sort of put me off a little bit. But I've had 2 games, and it's good. I would suggest buying it. But
it's great. It's a pickup game. It will let you play a couple of games really quickly. I think narrative is the way to go over a competitive kind of match play. And I think it's kind of the itch that it scratches. Sigmar is probably more competitive for me. Warcry probably more narrative to me. And then ideally, I'd like to bring in some elements. I used to play a game called Frostgrave, which is kind of like a Mordheim kind of game, but it's kind of led by a wizard warband. And it has a very heavy NPC type, lots of wandering monsters and beasts. So it becomes almost like a triple threat where it's you versus the monsters. And the monsters are a real threat, not just a couple of harpies.
Okay, that's cool.
And the terrain is sexy.
The other thing as well for that game, and like I know you said, Ryan, but you don't like it because it's very 40k-ish, but just letting you know, that game has now gotten some people that I know who are hardcore 40k Necromunda players now just bought themselves the 3 people that used to play Kill Team and Necromunda heavily have now all bought AOS armies.
Oh yeah, there's definitely it's definitely good it's cross compatible between the
it's almost like GW's done that on purpose.
Yeah, I saw a discussion this morning from Tabletop Tactics, which is a 40k channel, and they were talking about Warcry and they loved it. So I think you'll see some cross pollination.
Yeah, so I reckon GW, applaud for you for nailing it. I haven't played it yet, but watching all the community and everyone like talking about it, I was like, yeah, GW has nailed it on the head.
Yeah, so it'd just be nice if the price point wasn't so high in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, we won't get into price here.
Am I the only one that does not give a shit about price?
Yep.
When you live with your parents, you don't have to worry about.
No, it's not even that. Like even when I used to be a GW staff member, it's just like it was one of those things where like people come in and complain, but I had to explain to people like how a business works.
All right, we're not getting into this discussion. Maybe it's another topic where you and Ryan can box it out.
I will be there.
All right. Well, let's ring the bell in the future. But the bell that's already finished and rung, nice like that segue, is the Ipswich GT run by I think it was Callum. Is that correct, Jemma?
Yeah, Callum McDonald, and basically the group of League of Ipswich gamers. They did a really good job.
So this is a new segment that we're entering, which is really the first time. Hopefully you guys like this and seeing some results. We got first place going to Scaventide, second and third going to Slanesh, and then also seeing a good mix. You know, we've got 2 Gloomspite Gits. We've got our friend Gabe of the Runax bringing in his Chaos Dwarves. We've got Daughters. We've got Blades of Corn. So probably no surprises there other than not seeing Iron Jaws. They've started breaking through recently in the top 10s, but
I have to say it's good that it's one of each Grand Alliance.
Where's Order?
Yeah.
Daughters is Order.
Yeah, it's one of each. It's mainly though Chaos.
Yeah, it's very heavy Chaos.
It's like AOS 1 again. But it looks good. It's a good. I'm not surprised about Skaven.
No, me either.
Yeah.
I'm just the only thing I'm surprised about is the length of time it's taken for people
to pick up
for people. Yeah. To what?
That's because they all had to paint their rats.
That too. But yeah, to pick up Scaventide and actually realise that they are a top tier army and being able to play them and do really well with them, because since the book came out, I've always thought they were a top tier. You just got to learn how to use them.
When you play Dan Brewer, you learn quickly. But congrats to Gabe though, Legion of Asgore, that's good.
I think congrats to everyone here who's placed. Having 2 Gloomspites in here,
and also seeing Lick McFadden in there doesn't surprise me. He's a good death player, like really good. Like I have to say, he's up there as one of my favorite death players. There's a couple of new names, which is cool. I've not heard of some of these guys, but that's cool.
Hopefully I get to meet you guys at Brishammer next month. This month, holy crap. A couple of weeks' time. So
if you're going to Brishammer,
Yeah.
How many Keeper of Secrets are in those 2 to 2 and 3? Out of curiosity, Gemma.
Oh mate, I wasn't on the top table, so I didn't even get to play them. I'm pretty
My
sure.
favorite 6.
I know. I think there might have only been 1 to 2 because I'm pretty sure Carwin wasn't playing the heavy list with those guys in it. I think he only had maybe he only had 1, to be honest. Ryan Hooper, I'm not exactly sure. He might have had a couple, but yeah, I think Carwin only had 1, maybe.
Yeah, but seeing Sinesh now, like seeing it like actually podium and stuff, because when the first book came out, you didn't really see them.
Yeah,
and except for Joel, but now seeing.
I think it was because no one wanted to put them together. Honestly.
It's not that bad of an. It's like the thing for me. I stopped playing Sinesh because I saw how the summoning mechanic worked, and I thought it was way too busted. But
I agree with that as well.
But I don't want to take it away from these players. I'm sure they worked hard because they're in the top tables.
Mm-hmm.
But that army needs a rework.
Well, we don't know. We don't know right now how many Keepers of Secrets. They could be more of a chariot kind of build. So let's give credit where credit's due. Ryan, you were going to say.
Definitely. Well, I think what we need to remember is that the game's designed to be very paper, scissors, rock. And if your opponent's got paper, then there's usually always a scissors for it. It's just a matter of finding out, A, trying to find out what it is, or B, waiting until there's an FAQ that actually fixes something that might be broken. But with Slanesh, I don't think they're broken. I think it's just people are now starting to come into it, pick it up and go, yeah, okay, this is how you absolutely smash face with these. And that leaves it up to the rest of us to go, right, how do I use my Legion of Sacrament to take that on? And I'm okay with Slanesh as it is. I just think it's a matter of trying to figure them out. Except for Skaven Tide.
Carrigan Overlords is your paper to the scissors. Or the rock, whatever the counter is.
And Skaven. I think Skaven Tide.
Yeah. That's some good shooting.
A good counter to them as well.
Some other things I just want to go through really quickly before we get to the topic. We have some events coming up. We've mentioned earlier, Brishammer is coming up at the end of this month. Tickets are still on sale. Check out Brishammer for the boys from Brishammer do a great event. I'll be there. This is my first time.
I can definitely vouch for that too. I've been to a few of them, and they run one of the best tournaments I've been to be honest. And they give you some really cool loot in your packs, which is great. And you'll get a cool sticker too.
I'm looking forward to getting my sticker. I've been harassing Chris Stratty for a while now.
Yeah, they've got some really good ideas.
Coming up in October, Jemma is one of your crew. So Toowoomba's got the Toowoomba Open. That's run by the Failed Charge. You've got Liam, your event. Holy crap. It's like October's like basically you're running an event, I'm running an event, and then the boys down in Bendigo are running the Bush Bonanza, which changed from late October to early October. So tickets are still available for all of those events except for Sydney GT, which sold out at 110.
Yeah, so ours also sold out at 50. But we will obviously have waiting list. If people do drop out, we'll get in contact with them. So that's also run by 2 local guys in Toowoomba as well, Gary and Brady. I'm not sure whether you guys have met them before, but Paul Brady plays Wanderers and Gary plays Death, and those 2 are going to be the main TOs of that event, and then us we'll just help them through it as well. So it's pretty cool. The community up here is massive.
Yeah, so if you can come to Toowoomba, go play at this event, get on that wait list. And then finally, Runax, that sold out, that team challenge sold out. I can't wait. Liam and I are in a team.
Didn't it sell out in like an hour or less than an hour?
It was sold out pretty quickly. And then Castle Assault, which is happening in Newcastle, which is it's a match play invite, which I'll be going to as well. So I think that'd be good.
Now, Jemma, Are we seeing you at Runax? Are you actually playing this year?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Sick.
Woo!
Yeah, cool. Because I remember last year you were a stand-in.
Yeah. Everyone cross their fingers for me, please, because I have got a team sorted.
Is it a failed? How many failed charge teams do we have?
Well, we could have had 2, but But yeah, we'll see how it all goes.
And we finally got a name. Sorry, Magro.
I'm just trying to move us along. So we got some fresh content that's come out recently. We've got Heralds of War put out a podcast, Mortally Wounded put out a podcast, Bush Radio put out a podcast. My favorite channel right now is got to be Binger Banger Bonger. Have you guys checked out this channel yet?
Heck yeah, I'm a subscriber.
This is single-handedly, no offense, Jemma, no offense to myself. This is single-handedly the best channel out there on YouTube. It is Doom and Darkness's son, Noah. He puts out amazing content. I'm not kidding. This is awesome. Go check it out. I think Noah's about 12 or 13. Give him a like. Give him a hello. He would love and appreciate. And he's also doing some good stuff. He did like a little bat rep to the 40K and a little bat rep to Sigmar. It's boss.
Awesome.
He's putting the rest of us to shame.
Yeah. Shout out to Noah. Good work, mate. Jemma, you've recently launched the Failed Charge YouTube channel. So you've had, I think it's your second bat rep is going up soon.
Yes. We recorded it last night. So I was just actually doing that before tonight on here. So I've nearly finished editing it all.
So check out the Failed Charge on YouTube. These guys are masters level players, taking some really good content. I think I watched Dennis versus Josh, which is a great battle.
It was good.
Speaking of other battles, you have Elf Bro Hayden, friend of the channel, who's put out another great rep. His reps are about 20 minutes or less. Doom and Darkness put out his second Doomcast, which is on fire. And the Measured Gaming, again, they've got another bat rep out. So Feck versus Beasts of Chaos. Any other content I've missed, guys? Anything that you're really enjoying right now?
Not really. Just huge shout out to everyone who's making bat reps here because they're a great vet. They're less than half an hour long. It's great.
Yeah, well, I think they're really important if you can try and get the time down because a lot of people can actually watch them when they've got a spare minute and they can actually learn stuff from them still in that 15 minutes.
Yeah. I enjoy them. I think they're great. I watched the one you guys did. I thought it was really cool that you guys actually have voiceover. So it's like nice, clean, crisp audio, which was cool. But yeah, it's good. Really, really great that Aussies are now just doing nice short videos. It's good.
So are you ready for the topic of the week? Do you like these banners? Like, how cool is these banners? Like, unfortunately, Gemma's kind of getting hidden every time we do it, but like,
that's okay.
this is profesh. Like, Coach is gone profesh. He's sold out. But I'll remove the banner off Gemma's face. But we are going to talk topic of the week. We are going to talk about Games Club. And the reason why we've invited Jemma and Ryan here, not only are they very handsome, attractive, intelligent, smart gamers, but more importantly, they are local leaders in their scene. Jemma has run events. She has TO'd. She has really helped drive the community out in Toowoomba. Her and obviously other people, but certainly she has been a strong voice. And likewise for Ryan over in Brisbane, who has set up the 2D3 club. I was going to call you Mortal Wounds. You could be every type of wound. But 2D3, you guys have got quite a successful club that's growing and growing, putting on great events. And I want to know, really, how did you start the Games Club? Practical tips, hints, tricks on creating, growing, keeping people engaged and excited, coming back for more, talking sponsors, you name it. Let's talk Games Club and let's build a really strong Games Club that ultimately we all win for, because the stronger the Games Club, these people come to events and our events grow. And I think, Liam, when you and I have looked over the tournament scene, Jemma, probably yourself as well, over the last couple of years, the moment that someone says, hey, Games Club, let's go to an event, it spikes 5, 10, 20 players and it sells out really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was just like Clan Filth when we would just all like team up and just book a place in Brisbane just to go to the Brisbane events. A Game Club, it's a great atmosphere. So I'm super excited to talk about this because this hits me right in the heart, because that's pretty much how I kept going to events if it wasn't for my gaming club. So yeah, and I'm sure that's the same with you as well, Magro, with your gaming clubs that you've been part of.
Yeah. So let me ask the guests first. Jemma, tell me about your local scene, your local Toowoomba Games Club region.
Right, yeah, so we're very lucky up here in Toowoomba. We've got quite a large scene up here. So if you basically, for me, it started. You know, I knew the owners of the shop, and then I went there, and then the community was large enough that you meet people, you get, you know, create friends, and then all of a sudden you're just like, hey, let's start a club, and that's basically what Jesse, Mark, Dennis, and Michael did as just the foul charge. And we basically just went. We didn't really know what we were going to be doing. We just wanted to be a group together because we really enjoyed each other's company, and we enjoyed playing games. And then from there, it just sort of grew itself, if that makes sense, because it's a hobby. I feel people are doing it because they love doing it. You don't actually have to try and get them to do it. I mean, we wouldn't be spending the money that we spend on this hobby if we didn't love it, because it is quite expensive. So I feel like that's played a big part in it up here as well. And because Toowoomba's not a small town, it's quite a large town. There's a lot of people that have got the same hobby, and we're basically just growing the community from there.
Yeah, I love it, and I was very fortunate last year to go out to Toowoomba and play Clint at battle stations where you guys often play, and you know, even though it was just Clint and I, you know, seeing everyone come up and obviously talking to Josh, who used to work there, but then just everyone just kind of hanging out on a Thursday night was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it becomes like it is like a social thing. You get two things in one. So you're not only enjoying a game together with mates, it also has a social cue as well. And a lot of the time people enjoy just that aspect of it, which is cool.
Awesome. And Ryan, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your club.
Okay, so 2D3, as far as clubs goes, it's relatively new. We started out really small, and a few of my mates and I were a part of another gaming club in Brisbane on the north side that sort of played a mixture of all these different games, and it was really hard to sort of get AOS into it and all that sort of thing. And then I guess with a mixture of systems and everything, unfortunately sometimes there's the bad eggs and that sort of thing, and we ended up saying, look, the environment here is a bit too toxic. We want an AOS centric club. So that's, I guess, where we all sort of went, okay, we're going to go over here and we're going to do our thing and we're going to play AOS. So 2D3 was born, and from there it's sort of just grown and grown and grown. We, you know, at first it was like, oh, well, we only need 5 tables, so this will be easy. And now we're setting up going, oh, you know, crap, we've hit 12, 13, 14, 15 tables. What are we going to do? We need more stuff. So I think there was a demand for an AOS club on the north side, and we just happened to fit in to everybody else, really. And we just sort of got adopted by AOS players on Brisbane's north side, which was really awesome because AOS players are, I think, different to many other systems. So it's really enjoyable, and we've had really good relationships with people like Jemma and Clint and yourself, Coach, and even Liam as well, where you know, we've caught up before at tournaments and stuff like that. So it was a drive for us to go, hey, we want to do what Clan Filth are doing in Sydney, or we want to have a cool group like up in Toowoomba and that sort of thing. So really it's just been, we've looked at other people who have modeled what a good AOS club should be and tried to not mimic it, but tried to make our own on Brisbane's side as well, which is pretty much 2D3 in a nutshell. The only other gaming group in our area really doesn't really host AOS or anything like that. So I guess you could say it was born out of desperation. We wanted to place the game, and now we've got it. But we're just a group of people that just like to hang out and throw dice, really. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I think you guys are starting to answer the question I had up next was why? Why did you guys start a games club? So I guess, you know, a lot of people go through the system, and that is they walk into a games workshop or a game store, they find players, they kind of build up to 1,000, 2,000 points. they want to start playing on their own. And, you know, Ryan, you know, I can see right behind you, you've got your table in the garage, you've got terrain, you've got a mat, which is fantastic. But a lot of people may not be in that position either. They don't have a space for the table. They don't have the money for all the terrain. And they look for something more. They want to find a place to belong. They want to find somewhere they can play new armies and like-minded individuals. And this is where clubs come in. So I guess you guys started alluding to finding your own space or maybe playing. Is there any other reasons why you guys started a games club?
Not particularly. Like, I think it was just basically a group of friends that wanted to hang out and do something together. We all had a common interest, and why not start a group and make up a name for yourself and see where it leads to? Like, it's all fun, basically.
Yeah, ours was, like I mentioned, people really wanted a place to go. And the scene down here has been a bit turbulent at times, and people wanted to get away from any of the sort of yuck stuff that can happen sometimes in the scene. And they just wanted a place to chill and game. And we all felt the same. So it was more, for us, it was a way to remove ourselves from one environment and create our own. It's been one of those things where everybody just wants to play AOS, and it shouldn't be hard for people to want to play AOS. You know, it's you bring some dice and some little plastic men and you just throw them around on the table. But there seem to be not much in the way of AOS clubs here for some reason on the north side of Brisbane anyway. So ours was more a bunch of people that desperately wanted to play, had nowhere to play, but if we all knocked our heads together, we knew there'd be a way to do it. And it's born of a desperation to want to play and hang out, really.
And Liam, you set up a group that's partially a joke, and then it kind of grew into something much larger. It's true. You've talked about this in the past, which is Clan Filth.
Clan Filth was a joke at first, and then it actually became legit.
So what was the joke?
So the incoming joke was, so pretty much like how it all started was, we started seeing in Sydney that there was a lot of groups like Western Warriors, Lords of Liverpool and stuff. And then we started seeing that our group, we hung out a lot together and we were part of a group chat and stuff. And we made like this group chat, which all started from like a slow grow after like the first CanCon that Clint ran. And then we just kept going to tournaments together. Like that group chat started talking about like other events, list ideas, like this and that and this and that. And then we started saying like, what should we call ourselves? Like, what would our group be called? And we started like throwing in these weird names since most of us are from different parts of Sydney. And I just remember just saying, why don't we just call ourselves Clan Filth? Because everyone says that we bring filthy lists, and not a lot of, and like that's pretty much what we got known for. And then, so we started joking around calling ourselves Clan Filth, and then it just stuck because we started going to events and people were like, oh, are you a Clan Filth member? Or like, oh, are you like involved with this Clan Filth group? And I'm like, oh yeah, like that's just a bunch of mates who hang out. And we used to base ourselves off Exiles Gaming Club because they were very kind to deal with us, especially every fortnight. And then we started, that group just grew. Like the more people who hang out with us at tournaments and stuff and like started becoming familiar faces to us have now just become this part of this gaming group. And then so we have like Clan Filth and we have Clan Filth and Friends, which is good. So yeah, it's very.
I think for me, like Clan Filth was solidified, not at a local games club, but rather at an event. I think I think of BrisCon 2017. When there was about 10 or 12 Sydney people who were basically all Clan Filth and me, all travelled up to BrisCon, and seeing Matt Campbell, Jet Griffith, it was I think Dan Brewer, Chris Welfare. There was this big crew of Ash McEwen, this big crew, and we're all kind of like hanging out and chatting and, really driving this club scene at a tournament. And it kind of grew from there.
And the one thing that we all had in common is like, and it's weird to say this, right? But like our common thing of our group, like hearing you, like both Ryan and Jemma talking about like people wanting to play games and stuff. Our thing was like playing games, but we wanted to bring tough lists. And that's when I think most of us looked at us as a competitive gaming club. Like when people saw us turn up to events, they all knew they were in it to win it kind of thing. Like Like we are like aiming for top tables and stuff. And there's like been so many times where like it's round 3 or 4, and next thing you know, we've been paired up, and it sucks for our group. But
well, the famous Matt Campbell versus Chris Todd round 3.
Every tournament without fail. I do remember when I ran my event last year when I did a random draw for the first round, but those two got paired up, and I was like, I'm leaving that right there. Like, that's staying. But yeah, it was just that there was like a huge thing for us. Like, we push ourselves a lot. Like, and Magro, you've turned up to our gaming days and stuff, and you've seen the list that we bring. It's not friendly, but that's what we do.
But it's great because, you know, you are the complete opposite of what Ryan's doing. And Ryan, I've chatted to Ryan a lot, and I know Ryan's focus is very much about growing the local scene and nurturing the new folks into Sigmar. Ryan, is that correct?
Oh, yeah, 100%. The focus is definitely just on building up a community.
Yeah. And while Jemma, it sounds like, you know, Toowoomba, you've either got plastic crack or you've got real crack. So you might as well come to battle stations and play with the plastic crack.
That's exactly right. Just pick the safer version of the two.
Yeah. And
not necessarily the cheaper.
No.
The one thing for my group as well is, and you've seen this now recently, Magro, where we train new players to be good players. Like, for example, Jordan. Like, we've done that kind of thing. Like, we kind of try and help the community. Like, we've done it with Peter and stuff where people want to get good and start playing well in AOS. So they've just come hung out with us and just say, like, bring your toughest list. And we're like, here you go. But it's a positive, like, our group. I'm not saying we're very negative or anything. Like, we're very much, like, cutthroat. It's like, we are, I have to say, like, I can happily say that the guys in Clan Filth are, like, my closest friends. And I trust them with everything. And they're pretty much like family to me. Like, every time when they're in trouble and stuff, it's always been like a family, which is good. So, yeah, like, I love that group to pieces. So, yeah, it's good. Positive. It's a very positive group, even though I'm sounding like we're very competitive.
No, I think I see that. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. You know, Ryan, I see that with you and David, and you know, I'm sure there's more other people in your crew that that you probably feel very similar, and likewise, Jemma, I see that in the failed charge. You guys have really come into your own over the last, say, 6 to 12 months, and there's a strong bond happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's not something that just happens because you'd like it to. I think it's almost a requirement of the role. It's not something, I don't think, like Clan Filth, Liam couldn't have just done it by himself, sort of thing. And there's no way 2D3 would be anything without the guys. And the same up in Toowoomba. I think it's because it is a group effort. It's a requirement as well as a privilege. So.
All right, so let's say hypothetically, I'm interested in creating my own group. By the way, I'm a part of groups. I think I've started to identify not in many groups. I think I'm in all groups. So I'm a representative of Lords of Ruin.
It's 2019, mate. You can identify as whatever you like.
No. I kind of decided that I wanted to be across everybody and be friends with everybody as huggy and happy-go-lucky. But anyway, like, less about me, more about you guys. So let's say hypothetically I'm interested in creating a group. Maybe there's a need, whether it's I want to come to a CanCon and I'm going to create a small group that's going to travel with me down to Canberra and play at CanCon. Or maybe it's, you know, growing my scene because there's not enough Sigmar players or people who want to go from 40K to Sigmar, and I'm going to help lead the way. I've got this idea. How do I get started? You know, how did you guys find a venue? How did you come up with a name? What were some of those steps that you guys went through to start building the foundations of a club? Maybe I'll start with Ryan.
Oh, God. Okay. Foundations of a club. I think the first thing it's important is to write down your plan, write down your goal. Okay, so you need to have a goal. And then what you need to do is the same way you eat an elephant, so one bite at a time. So separate that goal into a whole bunch of sub-goals.
I didn't realize I got Tony Robbins on the stream.
Yeah, where did the eating an elephant come from?
Haven't you ever heard that saying?
No.
It's a big job. You got to do it one step at a time.
Thanks, Jemma.
Yeah. Obviously, you don't eat enough elephants, damn it. So basically, once you've got your goal, split that up into a whole bunch of tasks that you need to complete in order to achieve that goal, right? So I want to start a group. Can I do it by myself? No, I cannot. Okay, so one of your tasks is to go and find people, and once you break it down into a whole bunch of smaller goals, it doesn't become such a daunting task. And that's the first thing that I think you really need to do is don't scare yourself out of your idea. It's 100% doable. And it's not easy, but it can be done. And all you need to do is, I guess, one step at a time. That
so
would
Jemma,
be,
yeah. I was going to say, Jemma, what would be some of those steps that you would have to have taken?
To create a group? Well, to be honest, we weren't very strategic with it at all. Everyone knows our podcast. We're super laid back and just make it up as we go. And that's pretty much how we formed our group, the Fail Charge. So we were already pre-involved in the community. So one thing is we already knew who was part of the AOS community up there. When you're playing games, you sort of know who you click with better than other people. Not saying that you don't get along with everybody, but just saying there's, you like everyone, but then there's a group of people that you really just form a great friendship with, that that you would probably, they're family, like Liam said before. Yeah. So why not, as we did, just go, hey guys, we enjoy playing this together. We enjoy hobbying together. We drink together. Whatever you guys might do together as well. Why not just give ourselves a name? And basically, and go from there. So that's virtually what we did. The four of us were sort of, or five of us, sorry, were just came up and said, we all enjoy each other's company and we're already doing this. So why not just name our group? And then we formed a messenger group, which I think is really important too. So it's a way that you guys can all communicate together. And we virtually had all ideas about what we would call ourselves, and then we took a vote. So in our group too, we also like to keep everything open to everybody. So no one just makes a decision and then everyone goes along with it. It's a group thing, which is, I think, very important because you are a community and there's not one person that leads everybody. So I think that's quite important that you give everybody a chance and listen to what they've got to say as well. Mm-hmm. What I've also rambled off. So what else was part of that question? Sorry.
No, this is good, and this is good, and the reason I wanted to throw it quickly from Ryan to yourself is just to show the stark contrast between not getting into analysis paralysis, because what Ryan said is 100% correct. If I'm going to start a games club, I probably want to have some tables. I want to have some terrain. I want to have a way to get my message out there. Like, hey guys, we're going to start meeting up at, Irresistible Force on a Thursday night. That's one easy way of doing it. But then the other way is just, very casually, hey guys, let's have some games and let's just meet up. And we might not have lots of terrain, because back in the day, any OG players like me would remember playing with tissue boxes and encyclopedias and glue sticks. There was no real terrain. Bowls. Yeah, bowls. You'd put like a piece of cloth over a hill, and you didn't have to worry about spending thousands of dollars on terrain. You just played where you could play. So I guess go on, Jemma.
And that's sorry, I was just going to say, and that's where we've grown as well. So when we first started this group, like you can't see it at the moment, but where this iPad's sitting is a table. Virtually what is behind Ryan is what I got the iPad on. So I've got a whole table here with terrain on it. I've actually got 2 armies sitting on it as well from last night. And that's something that we've been able to do now, because we've been able to get terrain. We've bought terrain, we've sourced it, we've made some. Our friends in our group have also got some, so they don't mind leaving it here. And that's also really important, is everyone sort of trusts each other, because it is a family, that you're happy to share your stuff and create like a table. So this is basically the Fail Charge dungeon, as Josh said on the battle rap, and that's another place that we can come together as a group and have games. And it's not just for us, basically, because the community is quite large in Toowoomba. If one of those guys want to come down and be on a battle rap, why not? Like we're basically here to help the community. We don't want to see it go downhill. So I love the community very much, and it's something that I hold very close to my heart.
I guess for me, it's finding the balance between you two. And I think, depending on who you are and you're listening, I think resonate with either or find a middle ground, because the last thing you want to do is, rock up to Gemma's house. There's 6 players who want to play, yet she doesn't have enough tables or terrain. So knowing logistics and knowing, at least saying, hey guys, can you bring a couple of pieces? Or if you've got a battle mat, bring a battle mat. But not freaking out and saying I can't set up a games club until I have 10 tables with 10 pieces of terrain per table, and I've got to be able to have fat mats and all this stuff before I can start. It's like, no, let's just find a way, build that community, and just grow slowly.
Definitely,
it's
no
situational as well, though, because like what Gemma's basically said is, we already had a group, we just needed to make it an official group and then grow it. And that's one way of starting a group. And another is, we don't have a group. We need to find a way to start a group and then and then make it grow as well. So I think it's really good to see the difference between the two different situations and what you do and how you work with it. So.
Yeah, it's a really vast sort of question too. It's, there's so many different ways you can do things. And for example, if you guys live in a city and you might not have room in your unit or house to put a table, I'm pretty sure the local store is a beautiful place to meet up with your mates and hang out. Like you're still there playing games and being involved in the community and probably buying models while you're there. So everyone wins.
One thing, I know there's some groups that actually their HQ is a pub. So like, let's be honest, guys. Warhammer, we all love drinking. Let's be honest. We go to events and we enjoy drinking. I can put my hand up, but I've turned up to so many days, day 2, hungover. But one thing you can do is, like, it doesn't actually have to, like, with terrain and stuff. I do notice some gaming groups where they literally put in $50 each, and they went to Bunnings, bought some like wood, and they literally just like threw together some terrain, and that's how they started, kind of thing. If that makes sense. Like, I don't like when it comes to finding a venue and stuff. Gaming clubs like you guys and like someone's house is perfect, but for some people, like as you just mentioned, city suburbia, like, or city like urban, finding a pub that has small storage space that's happy to wheeling, and also like I do know some people like they go to this pub and they literally eat and drink there. So one thing is the pub's like, cool, you can have this space. You're only going to take about like a corner of our place, but you guys are going to probably drop like $400 a whole.
Yeah, well, that's
to eat and drink. Yeah, and I'm sure that's what you do. It's just kind of like I'm sure any venue that has like an RSA or anything like that is more than willing to just like give you a block of space and just be like, cool, as long as you're drinking and eating food, we don't care. And you're like, cool, we're doing all that while also playing War Dollies.
Yeah, that's what we do. So we're at we play out of the Kalanga Tavern, which is a suburb next to mine. And the deal that we've got with them is basically we'll use your function room on these days, and during that time we will bring this many people or more, and each one of those people knows the rule, which is you don't bring in any outside food or drink. We get our own personal bar, or we've got our own bathrooms, our own parking spaces, like the works, and then they provide us with the fold-out trestle tables and chairs. All we need to do is all bring our terrain and mats, show up, roll dice. At 11:30, kitchen's open. Order a scotch, order me a scotch if you're feeling generous, and order some dirty fries. And they make their money off 20, 30, 50 people during the day, and we get a space to game that's air conditioned and big enough to hold us all. So yeah, it's definitely a good idea to look around if you're in an area that can facilitate it. So.
Yeah, just a couple of games clubs I've seen. So Company of Dice, which is a Sydney-based club, they used to play out at an old bowling club, which wasn't very popular on a Saturday. So they got one Saturday every month. And then they've now gotten so popular, they've actually moved to an RSL, where again, once a month and then the relationship is so fruitful that they can actually store their terrain, their tables, their boards in a storage room. So they're bringing in probably 60 to 70 players a month across Bolt Action, 40K, Epic,
Legion.
Sigmar, Legion, you name it. Like they're more of a mixed club. But then on the flip side, one of my gaming club, which is the Lords of Ruin, last down on Sigmar, we had Lindsay from the Games Cube, and one Friday every month we go out and play at Lindsay's store, and he just lets us have some tables. So he's happy to put aside some tables he might give away to Magic for us to play. So and I also know Games Club that actually run out of churches, and I think the church halls are very happy to encourage this game, because it means people aren't on the street and they're kind of causing trouble. So they're happy to be serving their communities.
Yeah.
Like, go, Jemma.
Oh, sorry. We need to work out an order. I was just saying, like, we're very lucky with our venue too, because it's at Battle Station. So it's, if anyone hasn't been there before, it's quite a large store, and they also do a lot of the games there, the Magic, and we're very lucky. They've already got terrain for all their tables, so we don't really have to bring any, and we just go up there, and 99% of the time you're going to find yourself a table, because there's probably about 20 tables set up all the time.
Before I move to the next question, I'm just going to bring up this comment from one of my friends and favorites, Tristan Gray, who says his favorite club has extra crispy bacon.
That's a selling point,
which is pretty solid. And another legend in the local gaming community is definitely Joel McGrath, who runs very successful Measured Gaming, and they are incredible when it comes to their social media presence, and which I'm sure we'll talk about very soon. But they're always driving events. So I guess the next question I've got is, okay, we've got this idea, we've got a venue. How do you build up your inventory and your assets? So how do you source tables? How do you identify and find terrain? How do you build up these things that need to come up? So tapping into local game stores and playing on their tables is definitely one. What are some other ways we could possibly kind of build up those assets?
Ryan, how did you do it?
It is there's two. It might just be me, so disagree with me and let me know if I'm wrong, but there's two ways of doing it. There's an easy way and there's a hard way, and for most people you have no choice. You have to do it the hard way, which is you don't have the terrain already, you're not a squintillion millionaire, you're going to have to source it. And I think it's like your own little slow grow project as a club, right? You need enough terrain for everybody, and you're going to have to start making it, and you're going to have to start buying it, or you're going to have to fundraise, or you're going to have to find a sponsor, or you're going to have to borrow it if you know stores that are happy to lend you stuff. Our local shop here is Irresistible Force. They lend us mats and terrain if we're short, because they know that nothing will go wrong, and if it does, it will be sorted immediately. So I guess relationship building is an important part of this step as well, so that you can actually obtain everything that you need. We started off with, like, where is it? We were like, we needed terrain. So I made trees out of, this is scourer pad from a kitchen, you know, like, and this probably cost me $3 to make. And I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and that made 3 tables worth. And it took me maybe 2 weeks of not seeing my kids and my wife, who, that was not good. But terrain, so that's one option, and there's so many YouTube videos out there on how to do it all. It's not funny. The terrain tutor, I know you know about that one, Coach. There's Bard's Craft, there's Black Magic, there's a whole bunch of YouTube channels out there. Don't limit yourself to AOS. If this is you're starting a club and you want to make terrain, look for Dungeons and Dragons terrain tutorials as well.
So here's an example I've been making. I've been making some jungle terrain, and this is literally like from the hot dollar shop, buying some of those like fake plants.
Yeah.
A little bit of like foam, and cost me cents on the dollar. And you know, it may not be Games Workshop quality material, but it's something to start with, and then as we grow.
But it doesn't matter anyway, because you're gonna have 30, 50 people playing with this terrain. It's eventually gonna break, and trust me, it's a lot better when I look at that thing back there and go, oh well, a $5 piece of terrain broke then. Oh shit, that was an $80 thing, or that was a $200 Warscryer Citadel, or whatever. So there's definite benefits to that. If you've got a mate who 3D prints, that's also a really good option as well. We've got Printing Forge here in Brisbane. It's run by a guy named Ash, and he, we built a relationship with him, and now he gives us a really good deal. So again, it's the relationship building that comes into it as well. Mats are a lot harder, I've found anyway. And again, relationships, talk to people, reach out to other people, TOs. If you know any TOs, reach out and go, hey, how did you get your mats? Have you got somebody I might be able to speak to? Because you'll find most people aren't really competitive, people that run groups anyway, and they're more than happy to usually help and give you information. So that's another one. And then also, fundraising.
I'm going to throw it over to Jemma, but I want to bring up a comment that I think is absolutely cracking from the overlord himself, Joel McGrath. And he said, I literally got the missus to bake a shitload of cookies and had a cookie fundraiser on top of a random doubles event. And then we bought a heap of cool shit with the funds raised. So that's a very amazing, creative way, very measured gaming language. But a great way to start getting some money so you can buy that foam.
It's not wrong.
I'll give up my spot, and we should get Joel on here because that's brilliant.
Joel, mate, get your missus to send me some cookies. I'll send a few dollars to get those cookies. They better be delicious. He's not coming, but get Tristan and Pat to bring up some cookies.
I wonder what kind of cookies they were.
I don't know. We're getting sidetracked. But a tip that I took off from Travis from the Heralds of War, who provides a lot of the tables at CanCon, is he's gone to Bunnings, the local hardware store, gets these sheets of MDF, and what he'll do is he'll use house paint and spray it on the board, and then use rattle cans to then create a gaming table without a mat. So again, another way you can kind of get a table. But Jemma, I'll come to yourself. What about yourself? How do you source those assets to continue to grow and build that games club?
So I think relationship building is probably one of the most important things, and it's easy to do in this community because we all play it. As I said, it basically plays itself because it's a hobby. And if you're just a normal person, I think you're going to find it pretty easy to create friends in the community. And we were lucky enough that we have done that. And there's been a few people in the community that have helped us out before. So Mr. Clint Mallet himself has always helped us. He's always had our back if we've needed terrain. Battle Station has been another one that we've been very lucky with. Obviously, they've got a lot of terrain with their tables, so we've been lucky there. Hayden down in Brisbane, Hayden Walker, or Elfbro, as he was mentioned earlier, he's always happy to help. And the Brishammer guys, they've recently got on to us and said that if we've done, do any tournaments and we need any terrain or mats, they're going to jump on board. But if you can't tell already, with all the stuff in the background, if we've got this many models, Michael and I also have a terrain fetish. So we do have quite a large container on our property, and it's got a lot of terrain in containers. So we do have quite a lot of terrain ourselves as well. So I'm a lot different to Ryan. So Michael and I are sort of the type of people that if we're not responsible in any way. So if we basically want something, we'll buy it. Hence probably why we still live in this beautiful basement of the family home for now. But your
priorities are right. Terrain over personal wealth.
Mortgage.
Who wants one of those? They're responsible, right? And the coach has also led us in a really good direction. We bought our Ender Pro 3 arrived today.
Oh my God, coach.
Yeah, mate, I've got so many people on 3D printing. Chris Welfare's jumping in. I've coached Clint on it. Gemma's now on board. Basically, now you can almost expect in Australia every tournament organizer will have a 3D printer. They are cheap, in my opinion.
I agree.
Mine's about $500 per printer, but the scale that I can create terrain, and it's very cheap once you have set yourself up.
Yeah, that's definitely why the Warscry Citadel is on last chance to buy.
I think the world, it's just another world that opens when you buy one of those. The amount of internet, like the websites you can go on to get the files and download is just endless. And I think they're just such a big help. I'm looking forward to it. I've got to build it yet, so wait for all these messages I'm going to send you, Coach, because I'm probably going to need some help.
So this is one of the Coach's 3D printer, right? And I have to say, it is awesome. And the fact that I know that this is going to be on every single table at his event gives me, like, I know that every table is going to look good. If that makes sense. So, like, if you're starting a gaming club, I'm not saying buying a 3D printer, but as Ryan said, if you find a place that does 3D printing, like on the cheap, it's actually not bad. Like, how much would it cost to, like, print one of these, Magro? Like, I know you're selling 3D printing stuff now.
Yeah. Look, I think so. The first off, that took probably about 10 hours to print, so I can do that just before I go to bed. Wake up in the morning, and huzzah, I have a piece of terrain. Once you've got the setup and the kit, it's not that expensive. In raw material, that's probably $5 in raw material alone. But then you've got to pay for the electricity, wear and tear, paint. There's always so much. But when I compare that to going to a terrain company, it's probably 1/3 of the price, if that. So to set up a games club, that could be something that you have in the long term, once you've started building a community.
Yeah. I'm just impressed by it.
So look, it's I'm printing some really cool stuff, some really big stuff now, and obviously that's not the purpose of today's show, but it's certainly thinking a little bit differently. Ryan pointed out some really good YouTube channels that has simple and easy, like you can buy bricks, like people cut up bricks automatically. They just like get a little hot wire cutter and cut up little bricks, and you can create ruins super easy. There's so many easy ways. Here's another example. I bought these trees literally for a few dollars off eBay because it was from like a railway guy. He just sent me a whole box of these trees, and that's a nice little scatter piece. Obviously, I'll put some flock and I'll dry brush it, but that's worth cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're making 10, 15 of those, and then you get a couple of big pieces like that stuff back there, which is all 3D printed, by the way, you're done. There's a table, and it hasn't cost you as much as you would think it would.
Yeah.
No, really good call. So we've kind of started, building up some assets, and I think Jemma as well has really made some good points about leveraging your communities and asking people to bring terrain, bring mats, while you're building and growing and starting to build up that inventory. Getting people and crowdsourcing that is a great way to scale. And we all have a few pieces of terrain, and Jet was saying earlier in the chat that, we've all won like a gaming mat in some tournament. We've all got one, like we can all bring it and loan it.
Sorry, can I say, Jet has won 2 or 3 gaming mats in every single raffle.
Yeah, well,
without fail, he will win something. I don't know how, but he will. He may not win tournaments, but he will win the goddamn raffle if he could.
Shout out to Jet and his mat winning ways. So you've done all this great work. You've got your assets. You've got a name. You've created a group chat. How on earth do you promote your message, get it out there in front of the community, and find new members? So how are you promoting? Let's put our marketing hats on for a second. Jemma, you are a queen of marketing. You've got a great professional brand. How are you marketing and building that audience?
Social media, and again, relationships with people. So I don't think there's a better way than social media at the moment. Like, look at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those foundations. You can put it on there. You can create a page like what we've done. So we've got a page on Facebook called The Foul Charge. You basically get that out there, people like it, and then they see your content. So that's a perfect way to put an event up. For example, the Toowoomba Open has been advertised on that page. People then can share that link as well, which is very effective because then their friends will see it, and then it's just a ripple effect. Also, if you can get on to other gaming clubs in Brisbane or even down in New South Wales, if a couple of those people want to come up, they can share it on their page, and then again that's a ripple effect in other gaming communities, and I think that's a really important way to do it. So social media and friends, basically, so creating relationships with other gaming groups and communities and getting them to back you up, because you would do the same thing for them, and it gets out there.
Yeah, I'll make one comment, and I've seen a few clubs make this mistake, and that is they've created a group that is private group because they don't want random people joining without their permission, but then they create events that are only available or seen in that private group. So having a public presence that is searchable in Facebook can help you create exposure. Tim Barclay, just before I ask Ryan, has talked about a really good idea, which is about asking for a few dollars at the start of the year, and that gets chipped into buying terrain mats, club use. So having like a membership fee to build assets. So it's a really good shout, Aussie Wargamer. Ryan, yourself, how are you promoting your events and creating this brand?
So other than the obvious ones and the strongest ones as well, like what Jem said, Twitter, Facebook, and sharing. Don't underestimate the power of word of mouth. If somebody comes to your group and has a good time, and you say, hey, thanks for coming. It'll be really cool if you could just let your mates know. They're more than welcome to come as well. Then that person goes and talks to two people who talk to two people who talk to two people, blah, 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 blah. Word of mouth spreads quick, and there's people talk, and there's corners and pages on the internet that we probably haven't been, where people are discussing and looking for groups. It doesn't help us really in Australia, but like GTA forums, there's stuff like that as well. So word of mouth's a really big one. The other one is, and it ties back in with the previous question of terrain and everything, is getting people invested. So if those people are saying, oh yeah, I'll bring a mat and I'll bring terrain on that day, and I'll help out, they're invested in the success of that meet. And then they're likely to go, hey, I'm going to this club meet and I'm taking my stuff. Do you want to come and play as well? And it's a snowball effect from there. So that tied with, again, same, I have to agree with Jemma completely, relationships. Build relationships, because coach, you might share something on the Sydney page about an event like War in the West. And then the Ipswich boys benefit from that, and then vice versa. They will then do the same for you. And talk to your local clubs, sponsors, supporters. Irresistible Force share our stuff out all the time, and that gets other players from Brisbane keen that I don't know and have never spoken to. So word of mouth and relationships are definitely the most important ones to me personally, followed then by a strong presence on Facebook and Twitter, where once people are going, hey, heard about an event. Oh, yeah, here's the event on Facebook. So, yeah, relationships, word of mouth.
Liam, anything from your observations?
With my group, with promoting.
Yeah.
Clan Filth, we don't really promote, as weird as it sounds.
I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah, so
you guys have a very interesting strategy that I think is borderline bullying, but I like it.
What do we do? I don't get it.
So what I see Clan Filth do, which is borderline bullying, but I think it's a good strategy. It's in the right frame of mind. So when there's an event on, so Ryan or Jemma, they post an event. No. It's like Toowoomba, right? And Toowoomba,
I know what you're going to say, yeah.
Matt Campbell signs up and Ash McEwen signs up, but Jet Griffith has not signed up yet. The group uses its peer pressure mechanics to tag Jet and say, Jet, buy a ticket. And then Nathan Princey puts in Jet, buy a ticket. And then everyone just goes, buy. And you use and it's not bullying. It's fun, but it's also what I like about
bullying.
It's not bullying. It's not like if you don't come, we're going to beat you up in the back alleys.
You don't know what happens. It's banter.
It's banter, but it's also like, come on, man. Like as a group, we're going to an event. You should come with us. You guys
go to that
forward
event
about it.
You're wrecking face, and then everyone goes, "Oh man, Clan Filth wrecked everybody's faces at that last tournament. I'd really like to play with those guys." Bang.
No, you don't.
Said no one ever.
Said no one ever. But no. So when it comes to like our group hanging, like our gaming nights and stuff, like that we talk about it in our Facebook group kind of thing. But if we want more fresh faces, then we go to the Sydney Sydney group. Like I remember when I started, like I was slowly organizing CanCon training days for some people. Like I knew some Clanfield guys really wanted to do well at CanCon. Funny enough, the winner of CanCon did go to training days, just FYI everyone. But yeah, like that's when I started promoting what we do and stuff. And then yeah, like I wouldn't say we do much promotion for our own group hangouts, but I think we do kind of promote ourselves during events quite well, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Like with our club dice, which now I need to buy more of because I have none left because I keep giving them out. But it's one of those things where like that's our promotion, is like word of mouth in a way, or like telling people who we hang out with. But yeah, but no one has ever said they want to play with us. No one ever.
No. Hey, I do. I'm now a friend of Clanfilth.
Clanfilth and friend.
Me and Hayden, or Hayden and I. A few other.
Hayden's our Brisbane branch. What haven't you heard? He's literally signed a contract.
Well, I'll find out next. I'll find out at the end of the month when I hang out with him and get to become Bucky's favorite. A few other things that I've seen that have worked really cool is I've seen advertisements. So they've actually put out physical posters at game stores and games club to build out the word. I've seen refer a friend. So some clubs might charge a $5 membership fee or a $10 membership to attend. And that goes towards, I've seen raffles and prizes, by the way. I know Company of Dice do a lot of raffles throughout the month. They might get some sponsors here and there, or they might create some terrain from... I know Byron from Company of Dice has bought all these Hearst models. They're molds. They're molds where you can kind of put your dental stone or your plaster in it, and you can build terrain that's from a mold. Byron will actually create terrain and raffle that off, and obviously those proceeds go into creating the club and kind of making it vibrant. But even just like doing those raffles and those draws and those lucky prizes and gifts, I know Byron and the Company of Dice guys, Joe, who runs a little independent store online. They run a little painting competition once a month as well, and they might give away a couple of paints for free. Very, very low value, but it gets people to come and bring something different and unique and fun, and almost like they don't want to miss out. So
yeah,
that's just a few ideas. There's lots creating these like one-day events. Ryan, I've seen you create a one-day event. Jemma, I know you run. I remember hearing a story about your Christmas event. Do you want to tell people about the Christmas event before we move into the next question?
So I would like to make it an annual Christmas event. So basically, I think this is sort of leading into the next question a little bit too, I suppose, is freshening it up, is having just different prizes. So for Christmas, everyone's joyful. It's a happy time of year. So why not dress up? So basically, I have like a costume award. So basically, anyone who comes and they're dressed up in a Santa Claus outfit or elf or whatever they want to, they get a little bonus in their list. So last year they got like an extra CP in their list because they went to the effort of dressing up in a Christmas costume, which was really cool to see what people were wearing. And then I did a group vote. So everyone, instead of voting for best painted army as such, we voted for the person who had the coolest costume. And I'm hoping to do something similar to that every year. So that was pretty cool. And we had about 30 people show up, which was amazing. So we had to get some extra tables ready because we didn't expect there to be so many.
I think I remember seeing one of your Goblin fanatics holding like a Christmas ball, kind of swinging this massive like Christmas ball as opposed to his regular ball. But
yeah, so that was Luke Gooley, who's friends of ours from Ipswich. Him and his partner Evie, and he was the one that was in the top 10 at More in the West there before with the Gloom Spot. He's really creative with some of his models; they look amazing.
So let's continue this and let's talk about like how do we create it fresh? How do we keep people coming? Because I think one of the challenges, if we just have this generic, once a month, we're just going to meet as a club, and no FOMO, no that fear of missing out, or it's we can always come next month. So what else are we doing to keep it fresh? I know Liam, you might remember 2 years ago I created that Secret Santa where we had you remember the Secret Santa?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you
Definitely,
don't.
I do. I do remember that gaming meetup. It was really fun. It was good. I remember that you saw very jealous D&D players. That's all I remember, vaguely. And I also remember playing Scrabble that night.
Well, we did a Secret Santa where we basically people came to me and I organized a Secret Santa, and we kind of had this at one of the club meets. People would
Exchange.
would exchange. So people would come, and it was a great celebration, and we had fun along the way. I love this dress up piece. Ryan, anything that you're doing that's kind of that's fresh that you're doing, or some things that you're doing to create a point of difference throughout the year?
Well, I guess once you send me down that red fluffy mankini that you said I could borrow off you, Coach, I'll be going to that Christmas party up at Toowoomba. So, yeah, I'll wait for that.
Maybe
but,
up to Bruce Hammer.
Yeah. I think for me, it's consistency is how I keep it fresh. So when people think of anybody here tonight, really, on the show, they think of those events, those big events that we hold throughout the year. And it's all the important little things that happen between those events that really keep a club together, engaged, and involved. So it's holding those regular meets. Garage gaming is another big one. We may be a group of 200 people, but you'll have 5 go to somebody's house over there and 5 go there. And, we all sort of get together for these little games as well. And then we'll talk and chat about those games, and it sort of keeps everybody fired up for those club days. And I guess keeping it fresh just means keeping everybody involved. And that needs to be consistent, because the moment you lose your consistency and the moment people aren't engaged anymore, they lose interest. And that's where you start to struggle.
100%. Company of Dice is the first Saturday of every month. Games Cube monthly meet is the third Sunday of every month. Hall of Heroes is the first Sunday of every month. Exiles is every fortnight on a Friday. It alternates with 40K. Like that consistency is so critical to know, and I can prepare my week. I couldn't agree with you more. Jemma, yourself, what are your thoughts around, keeping things fresh and trying different things?
So I also think it's really important to always stay engaged with the community, because I feel like the people who have got groups seem to be people that get looked up to, if that makes sense. Like, not trying to sound arrogant, but because we have a group, we seem to be people who, we get asked a lot more questions than just the general population, because we seem to...
It's a leadership role, you're right.
It is, and I don't know why, because we're really just wing it most of the time. So,
yep.
Amen, so basically, I think keeping engaged shows interest. Like, if I think those leaders aren't doing their job of keeping their engagement, then people are going, well, if they're not going to, if they're not interested in it anymore, then I'm not going to do it either. And it's sort of falling apart a little bit. So I think it's very important that you keep up to date, whether it's through Facebook pages or Messenger, because I know that the Toowoomba AOS page also has a Messenger chat. So there's, so many people in that chat. And if you want a game, we just type in there, anyone for a 2,000 point game, and then you've got 40 people in that chat who are keen, and you can do narrative or meeting engagements, and we cover all of that in that one group. I also think doing different awards at tournaments. I think you also got to remember that not everyone's competitive and just want to win first place. People do the hobby for different reasons. So there's people who enjoy painting. So I think doing a tournament, just a small one-dayer, fun, and cater to the people and appreciate the people who paint, so they don't feel like they're getting left out. I also feel like people who good sportsmanship. So I think people should be appreciated for being awesome players, or awesome opponents, I should say. I think you should be awarded for that. So also doing tournaments for that, so they're not missing out. I think people who want to dress up at Christmas time should be awarded, so they're not even that's a fun event, you're still getting appreciated. And I feel if you're getting appreciated in the community, you don't want to leave it. You feel like you're at home. You feel welcomed.
You're part of
feel
something.
like you're a part of it. You're a part, exactly. You're a part of something, and who doesn't want to feel appreciated in a community, basically. I think also doing slow grows can just mixing up, so you don't actually just have to do a one-day tournament. You can do a slow grow, so people who, again, that covers people who paint, they can convert stuff, they can play games, they can get together, create competitive lists, or what, I just want to try this fun list. Or now that we've got meeting engagements, you can mix it up with doing that. I think there's so many different things you can do in a community. You've got to remember that it's not all just about competitiveness and building lists to kick ass. There's so much more to the community. And when you have such a large community, you have to cater to it all. And I think that's keeping it fresh too, because you can also create interest. So if someone who is competitive wants to play narrative, you can go, hey, man, we got a bloke from our group doing that next weekend. You should come along and see if you like it. Or 1,000-point meeting engagement. We're going to do that on Saturday. Come down to our place and see what it's about. And you're creating interest at the same time. And I think that's also quite important.
I saw, like you said, you've got to. What you said at the start, when we first started discussing all of this as well, Jemma, you said, you don't make the decisions. You're there to run a club. You're not there to tell everybody what to do. Just ask people. You want to keep it fresh. Okay, Liam, what would you like to do this week at club? What would you guys like to do this month? Ask people, and then you know exactly what you need to do to keep it fresh. People will actually give you all the tools you need to keep it fresh if you just go out and communicate.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, because it's a hobby, people already enjoy it. You're already sort of starting ahead of the game. Like, we already have that advantage on our side, and I think you got to use that to your advantage if you want to keep your community fresh.
Yeah.
I saw in the Sydney page only today, there's a local games club. I didn't even know they existed. They operate out of a store, and they're doing a Firestorm campaign. So, using that framework to create an ongoing, every week or every month, we're going to play through one part of the map. I think that's a great way. Something that I've seen Clan Filth do a lot at Exiles, which I really, really like, is they often play Triumphant Treachery, which is, there's an uneven amount of players at the club. So instead of someone missing out, it's like, hey, let's just 3 people have fun, or 5 people play a massive game of Triumphant Treachery. And that's so much fun. And
just watching people be manipulated, it's great.
And it removes the barrier to entry. I think there is a barrier to entry. Not everyone has 2,000 points. Not everyone wants to play 3 hours. Not everyone wants to play match play in this type of environment. So by playing different games, whether it's narrative, whether it's open, whether it's Triumphant Treachery, whether it's different points values.
Slow grows help with that as well if you can't afford an army straight up.
Yeah, that's right. I think there's also a barrier on painting, even though they have released contrast paints to try and make it easier for us. I think also sometimes I've run tournaments where painting's not a requirement to play because you don't want to exclude people. And as a community,
it's not at our events.
Yeah, like I have it in some tournaments that you don't have to have your armies painted to play, but you don't necessarily win awards, as in and that's just something that everyone has to sort of understand at some point. Like, you're free to come and play your game because we would love that, but we would like the winners to have painted armies, just because there is still a slight standard which everyone should understand as well. So
Liam, anything else that you've noticed
with this? Like, I've had a couple of people hit me up about coming to our gaming days and stuff, and they've said something similar to Jemma. It's like they don't have a full 2,000 points. It's similar to what you said, Margot. It's like they don't have full 2,000 points. And I was just like, bring whatever you can, and even if you want, like, there's times where I literally tell people, like, I can bring something for you. So I've been very lucky since I have so many armies, but I do warn them, like, this is not a fun list. Like, as in, like, it's like competitive. They say, like, oh, like, I'm more than happy to try something out. Like the fact that, like, there's some gaming clubs, and I'm sure we all have this, like, not every person has, like, most people have more than one army.
Yeah.
Right? And if someone says, I want to try and play Def, there's someone in your group, right, that just wants to go, cool, here's my Def army, go for gold. Or, like, I remember, who was it? Jet recently. he came up to me yesterday. He's like, "Hey, I really want to try see what the hell Bristol Gore is all about." I said, "Oh, okay. Like, so you want to try Flesh Eaters?" He goes, "Yeah, cool." I'm like, "Cool. I'll write you a fun list, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to lend it out to him sometime soon for him to give it like a trial run and see how he finds it." So like when it comes to new players, like it's always good. Like there was times like about a year and a half ago, I would bring 2 armies just so in case someone comes in, they just don't have enough, or like they just want to play. You just go, "Cool. Here you go."
And that's a testament to the community as well, though, that people like yourself are willing to go, all right, well, I've got 2 armies and it may have taken me 3 months to paint and everything, but I'm going to bring it anyway, and I will let somebody that I don't really know too well learn how to play because I want to bring people into my community. That's cool.
Like I've had...
sorry, Liam, you're right, you're right.
No, go.
I was going to say, it's something that we see in Toowoomba a lot as well, is because Battle Station is quite a large shop, and it does attract. It's in a good location in Toowoomba. It's on Ruthven Street. It does attract a lot of attention. People do come walking in, and they get interested in the hobby then, and they ask questions, and they sit down and they watch you have a game of AOS. We get them into the page, and we invite them into the messenger chat, and there's always people, whether it's myself or one of the other guys that's at the shop. He goes, "Oh, I've had a look at Sylvaneth, and I think I'll be interested in playing them, but I'm just not sure yet." And I'll be like, "Hey, dude, I've got 1,000 points sitting at home," or someone else might say the same thing. "We'll bring it up. How about you come up on Thursday?" And he's like, yeah, what time? 7:30. Cool. He's there. We've got an army for him. It's just crazy to see the community with that much love for everybody. It's great.
Yep, agree. And I was just going to say, I've seen clubs who have gone out and bought not even the start collecting, like the original box set of the Stormcast, or they've picked up the Soul War Stormcast, which is very cheap. You can kind of pick them up, again, very, very cheaply. They might have 1,000 points or 2,000 points of that army they've picked up for $50 or $100. That is just there for players who want to learn the game, or maybe haven't got a force yet, and help nurture them until they find their feet and are ready to buy their own army.
What I was going to say was there's been a couple of people where I've actually had I've got to quickly grab his name because he's been recently hitting me up, and you've met him as well, Magro. Chris Hallett. Do you remember him?
Yep. He's actually helping us at City GT.
Yeah,
didn't know
so
that.
I totally did. Anyways, he's just a new player, and he's like come up to me and said, like, I don't have enough, I won't get the army done in time for your team event or even for Sydney GT. His target is CanCon. And like I've literally been like helping him out, and also been saying like, hey, every time when like me and Clientville for going to Exiles, I'm like, hey dude, just so you know, running down to Exiles if you want to come watch some games, or if you want to like join in. And like that kind of simple thing, like if someone new has come in, it's just like I'm always willing to like get them involved. Like when I helped Jordan, who went from 40k to AOS, first thing I did was I just added him to the Clan Filth group. I said, this group here, ask whatever you want. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and we will help you out in no matter way. And then, yeah, and he's just like, he's done well. And it's just like simple things like that, as you said, Gemma, just getting them involved and like putting them into groups and stuff, and gets them excited. Like if they're just waiting around being like, oh, when can I join this group? It's kind of like, like, let's do it. Let's do it now. There's no fee or anything. Just join.
Nurture them, offer advice.
It's $300 to join Clan Filth, but that's fine.
I was just going to say, it's starting to sound a bit culty. Like,
there's
come and
one
join
other
AOS.
one other important thing I think that we all need to remember as well as organisers, as whatever it is that we are, is calling out the right behaviour and calling out people that really are putting in the effort and helping as well. Robert, David, Zach, Ben, I can name a dozen people who will show up to club days at my club, and they'll bring armies and they'll bring terrain and they'll bring all of these things, and I'll make sure that I'll go onto the club Facebook page and thank them so that everybody can see that they're appreciated, and everyone else can see wow, these people in my community are actually doing these things, and that's why I had that awesome game on that awesome table. And I think calling out people for what they bring to the club as well is really super important. Like one of the most important things.
Yeah, I love it. A couple of quick shouts that I would make as well would be taking lots of photos. Something that I've really focused on for the last 12 to 18 months is taking photos of not only my armies, but my opponent's armies and other games that are happening to share and show people that, guys, you know, look how much fun people are having. They're playing, they're having, you know, great time. They're enjoying themselves, you know, lots of laughs. I take live videos sometimes. So I'll jump onto the Sydney page, just go live and just kind of randomly show people playing, and, you know, they can chat and kind of just build some rapport. And, you know, if I've never been to an event or a games club meet, I'm getting to feel and get to know these people, and they're not so strangerish. I've also seen other clubs really do well creating terrain days or painting days. So one day a month, instead of it being a game month, let's all sit down for 8 hours and paint models. And we'll put on some music, we'll have some beers, we'll have some laughs, but we'll make it a paint day or a build day or a terrain day. And, you know, that productive 8 hours away from their home, and they obviously get to socialize. One, creates a great meet. Two, people feel good, and it's something different. Because not everyone has a really good painting space at home.
No, and using your Facebook pages as an interaction with your community is another thing too. Like just going from what you were saying, coaches, I'm a bit lazy at the moment, but I like to take photos of my hobby progress. I'll chuck it up on the Foul Charge page and I'll ask how everyone else is going. And I think that's also a really good interaction with people who follow you on Facebook, or they want to get involved and show you what they've done. And then you can comment on there, you know, oh, that Maul Crusher's looking awesome. And, you know, or you can get on there and go, what colors do you think I should use for his face to brighten it up? And, you know, all that's important to the hobby and part of the hobby. And I think you can really take advantage of social media and interact, you know, not even in the same room. You can do it miles apart, which is really
Wednesday. Like, that's massive. Yeah.
Well, Clint and I have made Terrain Thursday.
Yes,
But these I think you're spot on that that club meets are not just one day a month or one day a fortnight. It is every day. It is, you know, show us your army, show us your work in progress. You know, who's bought Warcry, who's played a game this week. I've seen Brendan, who runs the Melbourne group, Facebook group. He posts on a Saturday, and I think the New Zealand guys as well, like Nathan Smith, will post out like, who's got some Warhammer this week? What are you doing? Share photos. So there's almost like every day they're sharing content or getting people to share their whips or their games or their insights, or, hey, the FAQ just come out for Sylvaneth. What do we think? And keeping those discussions alive, or, you know, what type of Sylvaneth list are we going to see? And it's not just that one moment in time, but it's this continual conversation, and you're nurturing and fostering that relationship.
It needs to be. And you need to do it every day almost, because, I mean, people sit down at the breakfast table or on the toilet or wherever it is that you are with your phone, and you're just scrolling aimlessly through Facebook, you know, and you want your club to show up there, and they go, oh, there's something from my club. And that needs to be a daily thing, or as close to daily as you can. Otherwise, people forget.
Love it. So we've all created events. I know we've seen 1 day or 2 day events. How important have these events been to, again, driving attendance, and any insights that you've gotten from those events?
I'll go after Jemma on this one, if that's all right.
Yeah. I know Gemma's run a lot of events.
Basically, I think driving is you're creating a community within a community is what I think, and people can get together and they help each other out and have fun. So it's a hobby after all, and the only reason, you know, like I've really sort of repeated myself with that it's a hobby, and we virtually are very lucky because we don't have to work extremely hard to get people involved with it. So I think competitions for gaming and painting throughout the year to help drive, I think they're very important. Again, everyone in the community does this hobby for different reasons. So I think you got to remember that you got to involve all those aspects of the hobby in part of it to get people not motivated, but to help them along. And if you're showing interest in it, you can often get excitement. So as we just said, with like showing our Whip Wednesdays and or even chucking lists up, like, hey guys, I've written this list, 1,000 points. I'm trying to get competitive. What do you reckon? So you're attracting those people, and then it might tinker in their head and drive them to make lists or think about the books, and then you can put a picture up of an army that you've painted and gone, oh, I'm really stuck with doing shoulder pads and some stormcasts. What do you guys reckon? And then you get interest and you can drive the community in that way as well. So I don't know if that particularly answers the question that you're after, but I think there's so many ways that you can drive the community because there's all different parts of the hobby. I've
seen team events work really well in this space. People, having those 1,000 point armies, but creating that 1 day demand, something that's different, fresh, and it makes that kind of like must attend because we don't have many doubles events really in Australia, if any, actually. It's very, very rare outside of like playing at Games Workshop.
Yeah. I think in Australia, it's a very Games Workshop orientated like event, if that makes sense. Like I know Adepticon. I think is it Adepticon that does doubles?
Yeah, Adepticon. We did the doubles last year. I ran a doubles which had about 40 teams, it was about 30 teams. Dan Brewer ran one. There's been a couple of team events, but they're not as popular. So by running a team event, it's just something different.
Yeah, I'd like to do a few more up here. We've got a teams like a doubles 40K event coming up shortly, and we've done a couple in the past. But I think it's something that it really does get the community and drive the engagement with the community when you can have fun like that.
Yeah,
especially if you do like a mixed doubles too, because it sort of forces people to interact with someone that they might not know, and you might create a really good friend out of that, and I think that's really good. Can I also mention something that happened when I went to Cairns? Michael Thompson ran from the Savage Northern. He ran an event in Cairns recently, and he did like a live draw the night before of the round one at a pub. So if you're talking like if you're going to have a good time there, I think like word of mouth gets out about things like that. I think that also can drive the community as well, because like you said before, Ryan, with word of mouth, that's quite important. So with something like that where you're at a pub, we all enjoy drinking, we've discussed that already. He's doing a live draw feed, which is awesome, and you get to meet, because up there I didn't know a lot of the players because I traveled to Cairns and there was a lot of that community playing there, so you get to meet them. It just sort of reinvigorates your drive that you have for the hobby, because you're excited, you're meeting new people. He also he had little tokens in your players pack, and for example I was playing Feck, so I had like an order one, and then an order person would have a death one, and then you had to meet with those people to get, I think it was a coaster, sorry, you had to meet with that person because there was the perfect pairing of them, and again you got to meet that person and chat to them, and I think that drives the community as well, because it's sort of, yes, it does take you out of your comfort zone, but you're learning and you're getting excited because you're like, oh shit, I've got to go find the guy who's got this, and you're like, hey, what's your name and what have you been playing, and you sort of appreciate it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Yep.
My opinion on competitions probably differs a lot from others, because I think I use competitions for a club in a way that helps drive engagement and sportsmanship more than anything. So we've always got, our biggest focus is always on sportsmanship, and that's what we use most of our competitions for, that we don't fully, go go all out and advertise and invite other people to. If it's small tournaments or small one days, then the focus will always be on sportsmanship for us, and that gets people in the mindset of I'm gonna go to this competition and I'm gonna win the best prize. What's the best prize? Oh, I don't need to come first to win the best prize. I need to be voted best sportsman, and that's how we tend to operate. And it's worked for us. It may not work for everybody, of course, but it helps keep people engaged and invested in building a community of people that are good sports. We're competitive as hell, and like I stood on a dice the other day that Jamie threw at me when we were playing once, because we're super competitive. But we it's all about good sports and investing time and effort into that. It's then also important to recognize everybody else that puts in the effort for those competitions. So it takes a lot of effort to win a tournament. You don't win a tournament and come first by luck. Even if you are a Skaven player, you don't, and you don't win best painted just because you managed to buy some contrast paints. That just does not happen. So for us, a competition isn't about who gets the most masters points for masters and things like that. It's more about finding ways to appreciate the people in the community that are putting in the effort into their hobby, and sports is the most important thing for us. But in saying that, yeah, don't shy away from good paint-offs, easy one-day comps and stuff like that. I think we've even had a couple of it as well. And the other good thing with competitions that help drive player and member engagement and stuff like that is grudges. Nothing beats a good grudge, man. Like, if I ever get the opportunity to, which is very unlikely this year, but I'm going to grudge the shit out of you, coach. Like, I can't wait.
Although, as I think as Joel McGrath says, they're not grudges. I don't think there's actually many, if any, real grudges in our scene. They're more like play dates.
Yeah.
They are.
It's play dates.
The engagement comes from how people feel about their past, current, and future experiences with the club. So my club, Jemma's club, whoever's club it is, and I think that's what competitions do. It's a way of giving people an experience with your club and then making them go, you know what, I'm gonna fly down to Sydney for that event next year as well, or wow, I'm gonna join that club because they're not too far away. So competitions are a way of building your community and encouraging the behavior that you guys want to see.
I'm just going to say, you can do it, Sam. You can do it, Sam.
Sam's trying to paint up 12 players for a tournament.
And I'd be looking forward to seeing you dress up at a Christmas event. You can
see this, and right there, that's it. Sam is a member of 2D3, and he loves going up to Toowoomba and playing against you guys, Jemma. Like, he will go to every single one of your events if he can get there, and we encourage it. The only thing I want to do is make sure that when he's finished those flyers, send him up there with a 2D3 shirt so everybody knows where the winner comes from. And that's amazing. You guys have actually built events and a community that I want to promote. I want to promote another club's events because I know it's awesome, and Sam knows it too, and that's why Sam is always engaging with you guys and is up there, because he knows where the good stuff's at. And I saw
Mortally Wounded today share Liam's teams event. So again, I think everyone and I, a few down under Sigmars ago, we had Chris and James from the Mortally Wounded talking about their event. So I think us helping each other is absolutely critical. Before I move on, I just want to call out this comment from Parabot, and I think it is perfect. It is that being a strong and reliable leader is massive, and I think it's about eating our own dog food. It's about if we're going to run events, we should be there. There's been plenty of times at GamesCube where there's been uneven events, and I have taken the bye. As much as I want to play a game, I would rather someone else have a game, have a good experience, and come back and tell their friends than them come to an event and only play 2 games or not get as many games as they want. So That's a sign of leadership. I think it's a book called like Leaders Eat Last. That's
what are these sayings? You guys are like, don't eat your dog food, eat elephants. Like, what is this shit? Like, what is this?
think so. The thing is, Coach has a background in marketing. I've got a background in business management, and I think.
And I've got a background of being a dropout from the sounds of things. So it's just like...
but
right.
Clubs,
Liam, you have come leaps and bounds in the last 6 months being on this show. So I'll continue to bring you into the fold. And remember, there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. We'll get you there.
I am so puzzled. I think I'm more puzzled about eating an elephant thing. But anyways, the dog one was just like, what?
Everybody donate now so that we can afford an elephant, so that we can teach Liam how to eat one.
Guys, if you're still listening to this or you listen to this in a future stream, please go on to Liam's Twitter and share one of these amazing sayings with Liam. And so eating your own dog food is definitely one. I'm sure there's plenty.
I have to say, though, being a good leader is a huge thing. So, like, for me, when I go to events, I know sometimes I have to be on my best behavior because everyone knows that, like, I'm part of Clan Filth or etc. And everyone's like, oh. And, like, and the other thing is, it's like, since you're being a leader, if one of your members stuffs up or has given someone a bad game, you're generally the one that hears about it, kind of thing. Like, I don't know if you, Jemma and Ryan, if you get this, but like, there's been a few.
I hear it about you all the time.
I know, it's so bad.
Even I hear about you all the time, man. Come on.
But anyways, but like, if someone like from Clan Filth like messes up or whatever, it's not them that hear about it, it's me. And like, I get the comment of being like, you need to talk to your blah, 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 etc. about this and stuff. And I literally just look at them like, yeah, okay, I'll have a conversation with them. And I'll literally just go up to them like, hey, like, this is what apparently happened in your game. Can you like not do it again? Because like, you're part of the group and like it affects all of us kind of thing. And like stepping up and taking that role is like a huge thing. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't sign up to be a leader. Don't know how the hell it happens.
That's the start of there is a political aspect to running a club or running teams or running anything like that.
Thanks,
and that's
Tristan.
what you're experiencing.
Yeah, I'm just reading Tristan's comment. Liam, remember, control the controllables. Well, what if my what if my group's not controllable?
Liam, you can't control the cards that are dealt to you in life, but you can control how you respond.
Yeah, so what I was going to say was being a good leader, like you just have to like sometimes get your ego put aside. Like, let's be honest, it's hard for me to bite my tongue at times at events. Like Magro has watched me like hardcore like bleed my tongue out, and I'm just go cool, whatever. Like I think at CanCon I think was a good idea. Like I remember Magro was like the way you dealt with that was like a lot better than I expected.
There was a situation. I'm not going to go into detail. There was a situation that that ended in a call that I don't think was fair on Liam, but he took the right approach. So I think picking your battles and showing signs of leadership is critical.
That was the thing. Since I like had to like make a call and be like, even though I was not going to probably be happy with the result, but I knew that I wanted to make people know that like like this game is just a game to me still. Like it's not win at all costs kind of thing. And being that leader, like showing my group and everyone, but it's like, hey, it's okay to take these and like you just cop it. And that makes sense. And like that comment being a good leader, like there's going to be times where you actually have to cop a lot and just take it on the chin.
I think you can actually do a whole show on just leadership. You really could, because everything that you say is bang on. Like everything that you've experienced is, and the way that you've dealt with it is exactly the right way to deal with it. And that comes, it's not everyone can show that sort of humility and respect for everyone else around them as well. So I'm not surprised that you've experienced it, but it's really good to see that you've sort of just figured out straight away, oh, well, this is how I need to deal with that situation and done it on the fly. That's something that not everybody can do.
Yeah. But but like I've seen Magro. Magro and I, we lead a couple of the one-day events at GamesCube. Sometimes when like Lindsay's busy at the store, one of us just like jumps in and goes bang, bang, bang. But yeah, being a leader is good, and it's like, and you learn a lot. But,
this comment I just brought up. W Soren or Was Soren I don't know if that's how I pronounce that, but I think it's a really good call to say. You know, it is quite hard to handle different personalities. We're all looking for different things, and some people have bigger egos than others. Some people are argumentative as others. I think bringing it back to the purpose, and sometimes it's about pulling people aside and not embarrassing them in front of a group. So obviously, it can be political, but knowing that signs of leadership is getting in there and doing what's right. If it means kicking someone out of a group because they're not bringing the right environment, it's taking the tough conversations.
Let's just comment. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm reading it too.
There was signs of leadership where the Games Cube once did not open for an hour after they were meant to, and Liam rolled dice at the front. I was at Adepticon that month. The last question that I have is really about merchandising and branding. So you guys have kind of alluded to this. Liam, I know you've done some really cool stuff with Clan Filth, but how do you guys get your brand out there? And what have you done? Have you guys created some merchandise to promote your brand? Do you do things special when you go to an event so people have like your Hawaiian t-shirt or something? Hawaiian shirt, like again, Clan Measured Gaming are known for their Hawaiian shirts. You guys at Moab, Clan Filth are dressed up like Ninja Turtles. Jemma, I'll throw it to you first. What have you done from the failed charge point of view, from a branding and merchandise, and what's worked for you guys?
All right, so we are a little bit limited in this area, considering most of our tournaments haven't been major ones just of yet. March of the Damned was a couple of years ago now, before we really formed. So things, we've got our shirts at the moment that the members wear. I think things that we've all sort of mentioned that we'd like to do is maybe getting some coasters made, caps, objective markers, 9-inch, 3-inch, and 6-inch markers. Anything that can be used in the game is really helpful. And I found that in other events that we've been to, is I always seem to lose my 3-inch markers or 9-inch, where you never seem to have enough, especially when you're playing an army that summons. You need to stick out those 9-inch markers everywhere. So I think anything like that is quite awesome, and I really appreciate getting those when I go to a tournament, because I use them straight away. I think dice might be another one, is pretty cool, because I think that's another way of meeting other people from gaming groups, is if they've got dice and you do, you always have these stories about swapping a dice with them, and I think that's really cool as well. So other than that, I haven't really delved into the merchandise properly yet, but I am.
You guys do have a club. You guys have a club polo, right?
You're a club polo, yeah.
We got a club polo, these shirts here, and then I'm looking at getting jumpers and stuff like that. But for actual merch, I wouldn't mind getting like caps or coasters. I think is pretty cool, or even stubby coolers. I think would be cool, because as we said, like a lot of people like to have a quiet beer when they're hobbying or over at mates' places.
Yeah, I was just trying to look behind me, because I do have a Measured Gaming stubby holder, so I was going to give them a shout. I think I've given Measured Gaming enough shouts. I'm not even in their club, but they do a really good. They do really good stuff.
Their branding is good. Like Measured Gaming, we'll talk about them just quickly. They are one of those ones. Ryan, I don't know if you've seen them on social media and stuff, but these guys are loud. Like these are the definition of loud. And well,
they wrote an article for Dan AOS Shorts, and they put they were one of the first club articles on AOS Shorts. So I think Peter Atkinson had wrote that and submitted it to Dan, and Dan's like, "Cool, I'll submit that." And now there's an article about Measured Gaming that's going to be there for the ends of time.
Yeah, like these guys. So I remember when I first saw them. I think it was at CanCon last year. Was it? Like
maybe 2 years ago. I remember there was a small group of guys in Hawaiians, and then last year there was a bigger group of Hawaiians.
It wasn't this year, but it was last year. I just remember I just walked past, going to the CanCon town, like entering, and I see guys in bright pink Hawaiian shirts. I was like, who the hell are these guys? Who the F are they? And then as events kept going, I kept seeing the Hawaiian shirts, just kept going. And I was like, okay, these guys are a thing. Found out who they were, and then then I just realized that they remind me of Clan Filth in a bit. Like it's just like a bunch of dudes come together and they go to events together. So like if one person wants to go, everyone else goes with them. And yeah, so like, and their branding is very much like they go like we're from the bush and stuff, and everything about their branding is literally it's perfect. It's like when Americans think of Australians, they got the branding merch for it, like the stubby coolers and everything. Like it is, and it's bright yellow, like you can't miss it. Like everything is like in your face. So I think they've done their branding and their like merchandise really well. So yeah.
Another person, before I call out Ryan, just something that I remember really quickly. I think the Brizhammer and the Mango Mafia crew have done branding really well. Rob Symes and the Honest Wargamer, still to this day, you can watch a stream, and Rob either only has one shirt and one hat these days, or he just really loves it because he's always wearing a Brizhammer hat. He's got the Mango Mafia kind of shirt, and giving it to, I don't want to say influencers, but I think to what Jemma said, like handing it out and giving the love. I know Mitzi and Jimbo kind of gave me some stickers that I've got on my carry case. You know, getting that brand out and sharing when you play with others. It's a nice transaction, but it's also a memory. So something to consider. Ryan.
Dice obviously can be somewhat overdone, but it has its place, and that is like what Jemma said with the swapping, and also the hey, you've been there, or hey, you're from that club. So there's always a place. Sometimes for some people, especially TOs or people that manage groups, it gets a bit much where you've got so many different dice. Like I've got a whole Dewars box up there full of dice. So it's good to, I guess, mix it up. Caps are good, shirts are good. Like what Jemma said as well, jumpers are really good because when it's winter time, the gamers are still out there, and you know, most of the time they'll be wearing a hoodie over top of their club shirt. So why not, you know, grab a hoodie and that sort of thing as well. I think merchandise definitely has its place. There are other things you can do as well. If you know someone with a laser engraver or cutter, this probably should have come up earlier with the 3D printing and stuff, but you can actually get little rulers printed out in different shapes and stuff that have your 3-inch, you know, your 3-inch measurement and your 6-inch measurement and all that sort of thing with your club logo and stuff on there.
So this was given to me at Adepticon by a YouTube channel. Great guys, Greg, called Sigmar and Sons. They've literally just written, that's kind of just says Sigmar and Sons, but that would have cost, again, cents on the dollar. And it's something that I've carried still to this day. And what Jemma was saying, it's practical as well because I'm always using combat gauges. So shout out to...
you can get them in L shapes and stuff as well. Yeah. So stuff like that's really good. If you've got a laser cutter, well, then obviously you're laughing. So because there's a lot you can do with engraving on things like that, like Sigmar and Son, or Perspex, MDF, all the rest of it as well. And once you can find somebody who can do that, you're opening up a variety of doors with merchandising. You've got your markers, your gravesite markers, you've got wound counters and things like all of these things you can actually do and get your logo on there. And that's really good. We're lucky Irresistible Force pay for 50% of our shirts. So for every shirt one of our club members buy, IF will pay half. And our shirt says proudly sponsored by IF on it because obviously they're helping. So if you need merchandise and you've already got clubs that are helping you out, it's really worth just sending them an email saying, hey, we want a club shirt, or we want club dice, and we're wondering if you're interested in helping us. And getting other companies on board, or other clubs or other groups or stores, does work. You just need to put in the effort and reach out, and you won't get anything if you don't try. So stores are a really good place for merchandising. They can help you, and independent stores are more likely to, especially down in Brisbane and in Toowoomba. I know you guys get a lot of support from the local as well. So there's that. Keep the merch simple, in my experience. If it's too complex, or if it's too sort of out there, it can't be worn as a casual polo to the shops or whatever, then you're missing out on opportunities to get your name out there more as well. Then there's the other end of the spectrum. If it's going to be loud, make sure it's fucking loud. I'll probably buy one too then, because you're going to stand out. So that would be mine. Either go cash or go full hog, but always make sure that you reach out to the community for help with merchandising, because you'll save yourself a lot of money, time, and they may already have the contacts to get it all.
Seriously, I'm looking around myself, and I've just found the Measured Gaming beer coaster. I also found another games club. The guys from Milwaukee, they've given me a bottle opener. So again, it is endless opportunities. I'm literally, I've got so much merch. It's great. Please send Coach more merch. But I think another really good comment here is, if there's local artists. So a little secret is that I've reached out to John Scrivens, who's a UK-based artist, and he's creating custom stickers for Sydney GT that I'll be giving out to every player, and I'm making up some extras. And that'll acknowledge the last winner, which was Hayden Walker with his Daughters of Cain. I know that's something that Briz Hammer does every year, which I think is fantastic. Pro Painted is is a UK studio, but I know there are lots of local engravers. Modular R, which is one of my sponsors for Sydney GT, is doing a bunch of acrylic custom cut gauges as well, and they're not that expensive.
But, a word of warning though would have to be, if you're going to sell merchandise to club members or to other people, be prepared to be transparent. If somebody comes to you and says, "Why is your shirt $50?" Be prepared to say, "Well, it actually costs us $40 to get them printed, and we need $10 to help support the club." Because people, while they're happy to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on an army, they'll be tight about a shirt, and rightfully so. They need that money for more plastic crack. But if you're transparent about what somebody is buying or what they're getting, then you're a lot more likely to actually get that merchandise out there as well. If people think that you're just out to make a buck, which some clubs and some people actually are, and that's why people are careful. If people think that, it's going to be a lot harder to get your merch out there as well. So be transparent, be honest.
Yeah, I think all great things to consider. I think there's so much things that you guys can do. There is so much that I think there's opportunity. And I think when I think about what we've discussed so far, we've really talked about how to create that games club. We've talked about how to grow it. And we've also talked about how to retain our people. I think it's that is a critical piece, because once people come to your event once, you want them to come back. And I think we've discussed some really good ideas and tips and tricks and not even tricks, just things that you guys can do to really build your scene. Because if I look at the best communities in Australia and across the globe, it's the ones that have strong games clubs. And I can say that internationally as well as domestically. And I love the rivalry between clubs as well. I think that's where that you're in a really sweet spot. And it's a friendly rivalry. It's not toxic. And I think Australia at least is in a really good spot right now, where we have some strong games clubs and it's all friendly rivalry. I don't know if you guys...
It's in our nature.
No, we had a period where we had some clashes, and I think we had egos, but I think we're all friends, and we had a kumbaya and sat around the campfire and shared stories. But
sure,
I think well, everyone's happy except people that Liam's pissed off.
Yeah. I've been on a good run for the past 6 months.
You have,
because he's monitoring what I'm saying. Yeah. Liam, don't say this. Okay, cool.
Is there anything else you guys would want to share with the internet before we start wrapping this up? I think this has been quite robust, and I think everyone who's listened to this should walk away with a few different ideas, at least on how to continue the growth of their community and obviously overcome some of the challenges.
No, I'm pretty good with our topics.
Just to quickly answer Paragot's question, no.
Disagree. I'll challenge you with that. So Parabot's question is, do Games Workshop or the bigger companies ever offer help to clubs for prizes and things? I think
gaming stores, yes, not GW itself to clubs.
Yeah, Games Workshop traditionally, as an organization, would probably not. Just the corporate structure of their business. However, they are helping with CanCon, Sydney GT, and they are helping tournaments.
Warhammer
Your local
Heroes.
Pardon?
Warhammer Heroes as well.
Absolutely. I think, but local game stores are always, and we had Lindsay from the Games Cube last fortnight talking about the relationship between communities and local stores. And as long as it's mutually beneficial, I think if you go in and just go, hey, can I have some money for prizes? They're going to say F off. But if you're like, I want to drive attendance, I want to help people come buy product from you. Sometimes they have old stock. I watched Midwest Meltdown, which is an American-based tournament, happen the other week, and a few game stores donated some prizes, and some were old, some they're okay, but some people just want to get rid of stock. Some people are more than happy to contribute. So if you go in with a commercial mindset of, hey, we're going to run some events, I'd love to partner with you, I'll put you as a sponsor on my my communication, or I think Mortally Wounded at Sydney Slaughter actually had the Combat Company, which is an independent store in Sydney, actually present one of the awards. Having them present as well is a nice touch. So bringing them into the picture. Lindsay's offered me terrain and mats for my own tournament if I want to borrow them. So making it mutually beneficial is important if you want to kind of build this relationship. And Ryan, you've talked about your relationship with the Irresistible Force. You guys are probably running games events, you're doing stuff at their store.
As much as possible, definitely. And on top of that, we make sure that we push all of our business through them. So if somebody needs something, go to Irresistible Force, and it actually works out cheaper for our members to buy from them because of our relationship with them. So it's symbiotic. And
Jemma, yourself, you've obviously got a very tight relationship with Battle Station.
Yeah, definitely, and it's great. They really help us out with all the terrain, tables. They'll even come in on days that they're not working just to have the shop open for a tournament. Like, there's nothing that they haven't done for us, and it's really appreciated.
So my advice, if you want to know how to do that, literally watch the last episode of Down Under Sigmar from 2 weeks ago, where we had a tournament organizer, Chris Stratford, and we had Lindsay from the Games Cube, a local store, and they talked to each other literally through what was important to them, why this relationship was important, what we can do, and what they can do for us. It was, I think, it was quite a robust and quality conversation. So I'd highlight that if you are having challenges or looking for new ideas, and hearing it from an actual store owner. So that's always important.
And I think my last bit of advice would be, other than don't make a dick of yourself to the community, is obviously ask questions. So if there is somebody right now watching this that's going, hey, I want to start a club. There's 4 people on this channel right now, talking to each other about it, who don't mind, maybe Liam does, I don't know, who don't mind if you reach out and say, I want to start a club, can you give me some pointers on XYZ? So ask questions and ask for help, and don't be too proud to ask for that help as well. People will help you, and people will want to help you if you just reach out and engage with them.
Yeah, agreed. I got into a conversation on Twitter the other day for a tournament organizer who's just starting up his very first event. So, and I was more than happy to share with him decks and answer any questions. And I've done that with many times, and I'm sure we've all done it in some capacity. That's a nice segue. If people want to chat with us and ask us questions, Ryan, where can they find you?
Find us on Facebook. It's the easiest way to do it. So just look up 2D3.
And that's 2D3 as in written 2 and then D3. So you are making life hard.
I did it on purpose just to irritate you, my friend.
And And you're on Twitter as 2D3, correct?
Yes, yeah.
I love how you get to pause for a second.
I so much social media.
Jemma, where can they find you?
Same places. So the Fail Charge is on Facebook, and I'm also called Fail Charge on Twitter as well.
Which one?
Well, I'm
Which
at
Fail
Fail Charge. I'm just
Yeah.
Fail Charge. I don't have the
Yeah.
underscore, but it doesn't matter
Okay,
because
cool.
you'll get Michael anyway, and he's part of the Fail Charge too. So the more the merrier, and he usually just passes the messages on to me anyway. So regardless, we'll get the information.
In the channel description, guys, as well, I have the links to the YouTube channel that is the Failed Charge. So check out the Bat Rep. Ryan, I've also got your Facebook page as well. So check it out. And Failed Charge are also on podcasts, so you can watch them and have them in your ear. They are literally everywhere.
Awesome.
In a good way.
Well, it depends, but mostly a good way.
Yeah.
Liam, people can find you where?
Sydney page as always, and Twitter. Be good on Twitter at the moment. I've been so busy with life that I've finally.
Please don't trigger Liam, please.
Yeah, I mean I'm good. There's been a couple of times where I've been tempted, but like I'm just like, nah, it's just too much effort, too much typing. But nah, it's been good. And also, if anyone want to ask questions about groups and stuff, and like understanding more about like how Clanfield happened, or if you're a Sydney and you want to play against some competitive people or like-minded people, just hit me up. We don't bite, and we're pretty good as well. So yeah, everyone in Clanfield is a top bloke. I've made sure of it.
They're pretty good. I'm a big fan. If you guys like this new layout, it is the death of Google Hangouts, and this is hopefully the way we're going to move forward. Love to hear your comments and feedback. It's been an absolute pleasure having Jemma and Ryan on the stream. Liam, always a pleasure. Couple of cool things are going to be happening this Sunday. We are going to have a Sylvaneth Super Show with Chris Welfare, Dan AOS Shorts, Liam, obviously, and Laurie Huggett Wild. So lots of cool people. We've also got probably in 2 weeks' time, Legion of Death with Clint Mallet and Deke Johnston. So Deke's debut on the channel. Talking all things death. Parabots asked, where are we all from? So Liam and I are from New South Wales, Sydney specifically. Ryan and Jemma from Queensland, and Gemma's from Toowoomba. Ryan is from Brisbane.
Aussies.
Kiwis.
But yeah, Sunday I'm super excited. So if you guys want to join us, it's going to be good. It's going to be really good to just like talk about trees. And just FYI, everyone, Magro still has his book in wrapping. I bought Sylvaneth. I got 2,000 points, over 2,000 points. It's not even out of plastic. So, but I did read it 2 months ago. So to be fair, yeah. And we just got our 3-month FAQ. Yeah. Awesome. Sweet. Well, hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave your comments. Please harass Liam about your commercially business sayings like the
prior preparation prevents piss poor performance.
There you go. There's another one. Jemma, any sayings for Liam before we wrap up?
I'm not very good with them either. Sorry, fellas.
Oh, thank God.
Liam, there's only one. Liam, there's only one constant in life, and that is change.
Oh my God.
See you guys. Have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your week.
Cheers.